Happy Thanksgiving, Canada. How great is it to kick back, relax, watch a little CFL football, and be around the people that you love?
Wait. Did you just say
That's so nice of you. You love us?
No,
Catherine.
I was just reading the teleprompter. Will the perfect season continue? Davis Alexander 9-0 as a CFL starter. Jason Moss saying this week he has won every game he has started for us. It's hard not to believe when he's out there.
Dustin Crum getting his 6th start of the season. He's 5-14 as a starter, 0-3 versus this Montreal Alouettes, but he brings a 71% completion and can use his legs today to run.
Adeyemi Berglund. He's been one of the sparks for this Montreal team. He brings a whole lot of energy, attitude, a little edge, and a whole lot of sacks. And I get the feeling he's going to bring a little bit more tonight.
The RedBlacks may be eliminated. Still some personal milestones up for grabs. Justin Hardy, 63 receiving yards away from 1,000 this season, and his next catch will also be the 300th of his career. It is Thanksgiving Monday in the CFL, a tradition unlike any other. Kate Burness alongside Enoch Mwamba and Paul Lapolis. And I do love you guys, by the way. Come on.
Thank you.
I love the entire CFL family.
Thank you,
So
Catherine.
we're going to feast out on this turkey. We're going to watch some great CFL football, and we are going to have ourselves a day. And by the way, we have some fun facts on this Thanksgiving Monday. Since 1945, Montreal has actually hosted the most amount of games on this holiday, 35 total, with 32 of them at Molson Stadium. A great tradition in this absolutely fantastic city where we take you now. We are joined by Kenzie Lalonde. And Kenzie, we know for the Montreal Alouettes, there's still a lot to play for. Not so much for the Ottawa RedBlacks, but of course they want to end the season on a high note.
Yeah, Kate, you've got two teams that will go in different directions come the playoffs, but they both had the same mindset today, to win. Yes, the RedBlacks disappointed that they will not be playing playoff football this season. Gino Lewis saying he feels like he let the city of Ottawa down. And for Darius Pickett, this will be his first time in his 5-year CFL career where he will not be playing playoff football. But they both echoed the same mindset. We are hungry to win. And Bob Dice has expectations for the RedBlacks here today. When it comes to the offense, he wants to see them finish. He's been pleased with how they played between the 30s this season, but when they get into the red zone today, he wants to see some touchdowns. And you touched on it, Kate. You've got Gino Lewis, you've got Hardy approaching the 1,000 yards this season. And on the other side for the Montreal Alouettes, you've got Tyler Snead approaching his first 1,000 receiving yard career in the CFL. And when you look at the Montreal mindset, same thing. It is all about keeping the foot on the gas pedal right now. Jason Moss saying this week that they can't afford to take a week off because they are looking for continuity right now. They dealt with so many injuries early on in the season. They're here, they're healthy, and they need to find a consistent winning recipe to close out the regular season. Now, some last-minute adjustments for the rosters for the Ottawa RedBlacks in particular. Devontae Dedmon, who was a game-time decision, has been ruled out. So you could look at a Darius Pickett filling in at that position, and that allows for DJ Jones to come in and be a backstop on right tackle. So you can look for him to provide some secondary if necessary.
Taking a look at the updated standings, including the crossover, so much on the line in the final 2 weeks coming up in the CFL. In the West, just 4 points separate 3 through 5. Edmonton keeping their hopes alive on Saturday. And in the East, with that Tiger Cats loss on Saturday, the Alouettes still with a chance at the top spot. Also 4 points separating the teams there. Let's talk about these Montreal Alouettes for just a moment. And look, you love to see this if you're a coach, if you're a GM in the league, your team's surging at the perfect time. Lapa, when it comes to Davis Alexander, we mentioned the perfect start, and that's great. But there's also something extra he really brings to this team. You see the way his teammates rally around him, the way he gets the crowd going. It is a different level of confidence when he's in.
The first thing I always tried to talk to the quarterbacks in our first team meeting and having conversations, we would say the most important thing for the quarterback, I don't care if you're the starter, the backup, the number 3, the practice squad guy, is you have to provide hope. Provide hope for the organization, for the fans and certainly for your teammates, Enoch. And that's what this guy has done. 9-0 as a starter. It looks different anytime he goes into a football game. Like, the ability for him to put the ball downfield and use his legs and make plays has been spectacular. You look at last week, 350 yards versus Calgary coming back in. And some quarterbacks do it with a really great defense and just manage the football game. That is not Davis Alexander. From the moment he's got his opportunities, he's been able to provide hope in the building. And that's why teams walked away. Montreal said, hey, we're going to go away from a veteran, and we're going to play this young football player. He provides hope to everybody in the building, and that's what I love about him, Enoch.
Lubba, we knew that he had the skills on the football field. He was physically talented, but the intangibles is really what is impressive about this man right here. His ability to galvanize his team. I mean, he gets away from the team, and he misses a lot of games, but he comes back, and it doesn't take much. He somehow finds a way to still build that chemistry with his teammates, and he comes back, and he doesn't miss a beat at all. So that was really what was the most impressive to me. And when you look at the Ottawa RedBlacks, this type of game is always tough. You're thinking, okay, well, what kind of team are we going to see here? But there are a few players here that are going to play for their lives. They're going to play for their careers. And they're not necessarily just playing for the Ottawa RedBlacks. There are other teams as well in the CFL that are going to be watching. I'm thinking about a Dustin Crum, for example. He's a guy who a team like the Ottawa RedBlacks have given him a lot of chances. And are they going to say, hey, this guy is a guy that we want to keep on our roster for the future? This is some of the questions that they're going to be able to answer after tonight's game and likely for the rest of the games.
Yeah, and you're right. Dustin Crum's got to provide that hope to the organization, to the fans that, hey, I can run, I can use my legs to do things, but when it matters, can I throw touchdowns? Can I locate the football for people? He's got an audition for himself to provide that hope to an organization, Kate.
Well, and I think so, too, because you look at Drew Brown and what he did in the last game, and I think everyone, okay, he's healthy, and then all of a sudden he had a performance like that, and you're thinking, is he the franchise quarterback? Is he the guy moving forward? And I completely agree with you when it comes to a trap game. I look at the Toronto Argonauts against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. There are a lot of guys in that game playing for their jobs, and that one was not as easy, I think, as Rider fans would have hoped. So I'm with you on this one. This could be a lot tighter than we all think. As mentioned off the top, Davis Alexander, a perfect 9-0. That is the most consecutive wins to start a career in the CFL. Not to mention he has an average win margin of nearly 12 points per game and has defeated 7 different QBs in his young career.
Somewhat long awaited, I think, the return of Davis Alexander, undefeated as a starter thus far in his Canadian Football League career.
Snap comes down to Davis Alexander's ankles, looking over the top to Philpott, and Davis Alexander makes something out of absolutely nothing. Alexander throws over the top, dropped it in the bucket for a touchdown.
He came in, stepped right in, and didn't miss a beat. He's a special player, and this team understands that.
A bit of a drop-off for William Stanback this season, just 549 rushing yards. But the good news is, maybe on this showcase day, he could have a performance for the ages and maybe, just maybe, be put into this group. It is time to take a trip down memory lane and remember the players who feasted on this Canadian holiday. The top rushing performances on Thanksgiving. We begin with Blaze Bryant back in 1994, who demolished the Tiger Cats for 249 yards. Sticking with the Bombers, Fred Reed had a day back in 09, 260 rushing yards against the Lions. That deserves a turkey feast. And you know we couldn't forget this man, George Reed, 268, also against the Lions back in 65. And I guess when you nearly hit the 300 mark, you deserve a seat on the couch. Ron Stewart gobbled up the Alouettes back in 1960, 287 rushing yards. That's the record. It also happened in Montreal. Now, we speak about family when it comes to this holiday. Of course, family members include Glenn Suter and Rod Smith. And gentlemen, I know you always have a turkey on location, but guess what? It's also about competition today, and I cooked a 27-pound bird here all by myself. I've been here all night long, and I think we should now have an eating competition. Enoch, would you like a piece?
Come on, of course I do.
Get in here. Get in here. So we'll see by the end of the broadcast whose turkey is still around. Does that sound good?
Yeah, it sounds good, Kate. Happy Thanksgiving to you and everybody there. Now, 27 pounds for 3 of you, at least. This would be probably, what, about 18, and there's 2 of us. So I don't know. I think there's a chance that we can finish this off by the end of the game.
There's more than 2 of us, though.
Yeah, there are quite a few. We're not supposed to tell them that, though. We'll tell you later. Oh, yeah, we had it ourselves. Well, anyway, we're a little bit distracted. Forgive us for that. But
yes.
How about the Montreal Alouettes in this one? I mean, they had that 5-game losing streak. Things were bad at the end of August, and they've turned it around, 3 straight wins. In fact, Jason Moss finds this point in the season eerily similar to 2023 when they ran the table. They ended up winning the Grey Cup, and part of that run was a victory over Ottawa in Thanksgiving 23.
Yeah, think about that. I mean, you go back to 23 when they finished the season as champions, and for Montreal, it's been a very similar look to this season when they've gone through those highs and lows. Started out strong with Davis Alexander healthy, their starting quarterback, and then went through that 5-game losing skid when they lost their starter. He is back, played against Calgary. They feel real good about their position right now.
Now, there's the Ottawa side of this Thanksgiving Day rivalry, and it's not as positive, of course. In fact, it was somewhat similar when the RedBlacks were essentially out of it 3 years ago when Bob Dice took over as head coach on an interim basis. And they certainly do remember that game, though, because they wanted to show that even though they weren't going to the playoffs, the RedBlacks were certainly not done playing competitive football, and they won that game.
Well, yeah, and great start for Bob Dice as a head coach in Ottawa, of course, to start with that big win against a divisional opponent. However, the bad news is for Bob Dice and this Red-Black team is that was the last time they beat Montreal. That was 9 games and 3 years ago. This is a divisional opponent that you got to beat to get where you want to go. So that's been the struggles for Ottawa. However, having said that, if you look at their remaining schedule, 2 games against Montreal, 1 against Hamilton, they can play spoiler to either one of those 2 teams. Let's say they split, beat Montreal 1 game, Hamilton is in. They're first in the East Division. If they lose both games to Montreal and beat Hamilton, Montreal has 1 more win and they can be first in the division.
And first place, second place, Jason Moss says, doesn't care. They love this time of year, and they're loving their chances a whole lot more now. Not liking the chances for this bird right now. Yeah, Kate, I know Enoch and Lapo have still got to carve up the game. We're going to carve up something else and talk to you later.
I'm tempted.
I like our chances in this one, gentlemen. I really do. Well, a couple of players looking to reach 1,000 receiving yards today. We begin with Eugene Lewis.
Yes.
Just 47 away would be the 4th time in his CFL career he'd hit the milestone. But meanwhile, Tyler Sneed needs just 20 receiving yards to hit 1K. It would be the first time in his career that he would reach the prestigious mark. And taking a look at the top 10 receivers in the league right now, Keon Hatcher leading the way with 1,500 yards, over 1,500. Kenny Lawler, the closest to him, with 1,400, but certainly some new faces on this list this year, including Sneed. And with more on that, here is Dave Naylor.
Over the last several seasons, we've seen a new crop of great receivers spring up around the CFL. Now, who's the best is a topic for another day. But undoubtedly the most underrated is Montreal's Tyler Sneed.
Deep and open, and it is Tyler Sneed being chased down and hauled down.
I think he caught it anyway.
What a catch from Tyler Sneed.
Now, some of that has to do with him playing on a team that also includes Tyson Philpott, Austin Mack, and Cole Speaker. But among them, he has been by far the most productive this season, leading his team in catches, yards after catch, second down conversion catches, and pass plays beyond 30 yards, categories where he also ranks among the league leaders. And yes, some of that has to do with injuries to his teammates, but with a healthy lineup in their recent win over Calgary, it was Sneed who led the Owls in targets and catches to go with 115 yards receiving, his 3rd 100-yard game of the season, which is also the most by any Owls receiver. Now, at 5'7" and 172 pounds, Sneed is hardly an imposing figure. And yet, when he doesn't have the ball, he plays an important role in Montreal's blocking schemes. But if you're looking for a recent comparable in terms of size and style and the ability to produce yards after catch, look no further than the Hall of Fame and former Saskatchewan and Winnipeg receiver Weston Dressler, who had more than 10,000 yards in an 11-year career and ranks among the all-time leaders in catches and yards.
Finds Sneed. Sneed makes a move. End zone touchdown.
hard work's paid off, and hopefully I can stay healthy, and we can keep it going.
Snead should go over 1,000 yards receiving this weekend for the first time in his career. The Owls recently locked him up through the end of 2027. Understanding that in the CFL, sometimes the biggest playmakers are the smallest players on the field.
Harris towards the end zone. Got it. Touchdown Riders. The road to the Grey Cup through the West will run through Regina. Bounces to 3 tacklers and dives in for a touchdown.
They needed this one badly. They got it. They're back in the playoff fight.
Edmonton facing a true must-win situation. Lost the ball. Bounces out. Oh, what's happening? Edmonton picks it up. Do you believe what you just saw? And their season just yet.
There's so much to be thankful for in the CFL. Personally, I love the parity going into week 20 of the season. Enoch, are you okay? Are we interrupting something for you?
You just want to waste food.
No, this is the camera we are on. That's the red light. But you know what? I love the eating competition. You are ahead of the game. We are taking down Rod and Stu. We are definitely winning this. There's 26 pounds to go, gentlemen. But, Lapo, when you look across the West right now, what are you thankful for?
So I want to talk about teams in the West. I'm going to talk about what the Edmonton Elks, what they're thankful for. And here's a weird term: vertical alignment. And what does that mean? That means that everybody from the top to the bottom of the organization is on the same page. So it started with last year. Chris Morris hired as president. Ed Hervey comes in as general manager, 2 teammates, and they bring in with Alberta ties Mark Killam. And understanding that those guys are on the same timeline from a contract, understanding those guys all had conversation on what type of organization they want to be. It's really interesting to see. Early in the year, I talked to Ed Hervey, and they were terrible, guys. If you remember, early in the season, last in almost every defensive category. And Ed's like, it's going to take time. We got to be patient. We got to let the players learn. And what has shown up the last couple of weeks, their defense played as good as anybody in the league, and they've beat a bunch of great teams in the league, some of the top teams in the Canadian Football League. So when you hear their fans, what they talk about is like, hey, we expected this team. We just wanted them to compete week in and week out. And the fans last week were saying, that's all we care about. Now they're winning football games, Enoch.
Lapo, you talk about vertical alignment. This team, the BC Lions that I want to talk about, they have a lot to be thankful for. And one of the biggest things has to be Nathan Rourke as well as Matthew Betts. These 2 guys, because of their impact and the way that they've been playing in the last month or so, I consider the BC Lions the most dangerous team in the West. They have been absolutely dangerous by the way that Matthew Betts is playing. First of all, Nathan Rourke starts it off, and the way that he puts points on the board and finds ways to evade rushers. He always makes a play with his legs or his arm. He makes it happen. Puts points on the board. Now he puts pressure on the opposing quarterback. And guess who has time now to get to him? Is Matthew Betts. I mean, this team, at the beginning of the season, these 2 guys were not playing necessarily to the level that the management were expecting them to play. But they woke up, and the stars are finally shining.
You know what? It's almost the same with the Elks and the BC Lions, though. We looked at these teams, and we were kind of confused at points at the beginning of the season, but they are just coming together at the right time. And you're right, it's patience and it's time. As we take a look at the Week 20 schedule, it's a double dip on Friday night with the Rough Riders and the Blue Bombers, followed by the Lions hosting the Elks on Saturday. The fun begins with the Alouettes and the RedBlacks, and it wraps up with the Argonauts and the Calgary Stampeders. Well, these Montreal fans certainly happy their team is peaking at the right time, just 4 points back at Hamilton. Their remaining schedule looking pretty good: Ottawa, and then the Bombers.
We're built different. In Montreal, in the 4-5, we're built different. Fans built different. Stadium built different.
Try to get it on the ground, and they will not. Adeyemi Berglund, the eliminator.
9th ranked. All over TSN. This is the same team. Trials and tribulations. But this is Montreal. This is Montreal. And nobody comes here and takes it all out.
So Matthew Betts has been on an absolute tear as of late. 10 sacks in his last 4 games, but I would not count out Isaac Adeyemi Berglund in this race. He is right there sitting at 11. His previous high was 8 back in 2022. Wow. Didn't you want to say anything, Enoch?
Yes, we built different on this panel, but this turkey right here is cooked different.
Stadium built different. Did he build the stadium? How does he know the stadium's built different?
Well, Isaac, happy Thanksgiving. Here we are, a sold-out Percival Molson Stadium. What do you enjoy most about this Thanksgiving game?
I love it. I love seeing all the fans out. I have some family in the stands, family and friends, and it's just good to see the community come together to watch a great football game.
Well, I asked Tyrese Beverett this week to describe you in 3 words. He said relentless, motor, and sacks. He used sacks as an adjective. So you're at a career high right now, 11 sacks on the season. Take us through your mindset when you get out there.
I just play football the same way every time I step on the field. Like you said, relentless, but, you know, the sacks part, the stats, all those things, they're credit to the defense. You know, I get to play with guys like Beverett and Wesley Sutton and Anton. I can name everybody on that defensive front. Like, we all work together, so I'm glad that we could all go and get those stats for this team.
What do you want to see collectively from the defense today?
Domination.
Quick and simple. Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
You know what? That was too calm for me.
Yeah, right,
no, I prefer the post game. I would like the post game Isaac Adeyemi Berglund interviews, please, because that was just way too subdued, way too nice, especially for Thanksgiving Monday. Let's go anytime TD picks today. Enoch, who's your choice?
I'm going to go with Austin Mack, Kate. Austin Mack is a guy who has been kind of sleeping for this offense. Yes, we saw Davis Alexander come back and dominate the other teams that they've been playing in the last month or in his return. But Austin Mack has been missing in action, and this is a guy that I hope that he's going to be able to bring back into the fold, because into the playoffs, this guy could be very important for him. Yes, he's got weapons, but I like Austin Mack, and he's going to be beneficial for him.
I agree. It's going to be hard. Some of these, there's so many talented wide receivers. How do you get them all the football? My guy, I'm going to go with Charleston Rambo as my anytime touchdown. He only got 2 touchdowns this year, 48 catches, 502 yards. He's very talented. Davis Alexander's going to scramble around, make somebody miss, and then throw a shot for a touchdown to Charleston Rambo, back of the end zone.
I'm going with Tyler Snead in this game because Dave Naylor completely sold me on him.
Nice.
I love the connection between him and Davis Alexander, too. They're building something special right now in Montreal. So that is my lock of the day on this Thanksgiving Monday as we recap our touchdown scores this afternoon. We have Enoch with Austin Mack. Charleston Rambo, very interesting pick, Lapo, but I quite like it, and I like Tyler Snead at -105. All right, Kenzie, working hard on this holiday Monday. Here she is with Justin Hardy.
Justin, in your 4th season with Ottawa, you know this rivalry better than anyone. What's so special about Ottawa versus Montreal?
Man, we close and distant, not too far of a drive, and we always come out and play. The competition level is high, so it's always good.
3 games left here in the regular season. How would you describe your team's mindset for the final 3?
Finish out strong. You know, the season didn't go as we wanted it to go, so we just got to finish out strong.
You, Gino Lewis, approaching a personal milestone at 1,000 yards here tonight. How does chasing a personal goal help the collective goal overall?
Not necessarily chasing. You know, just play our game and let it come to us.
Best of luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We've been mentioning these milestones to watch this afternoon. Hardy just a catch away from 300, inching closer to Greg Ellingson's 332. Still a ways away, though, from the one and only Brad Sinopoli, who still sits at 455. Well, a lot of questions surrounding the future of this man in Ottawa, Bob Dice, who signed through 2026. Hasn't had a lot of success in the nation's capital, but he wants to close out this season properly. Back to Montreal after this. A perfect compliment to a Thanksgiving feast. No, not touche. Just some CFL football on TSN. An Eastern battle between the Alouettes and the RedBlacks as Montreal hopes to move a step closer to the top of the division. Well, how much confidence does this Alouette team have with this man in the lineup? Davis Alexander, a perfect 9-0 as a CFL starter. Will the run continue this afternoon? Now, Montreal couldn't be happier with their QB situation. It's not the same right now in the nation's capital. The RedBlacks shutting down Drew Brown for the remainder of the season. Turning to Dustin Crum for the rest of the way. Can he lead his team to victory and end the season on a high note? We know we're on a high note here. You know why? Because we've got a beautiful meal in front of us. And yes, we will be devouring this turkey as soon as we send it to Rod and Glenn. But first, Enoch Mwamba and Paul Lapalisse to break everything down. Enoch, what are you watching for in this Eastern battle today?
I'm looking to see if there's any possible way that Davis Alexander can improve. Because this game, let's be honest, for the Montreal Alouettes, it's not really about the Ottawa RedBlacks. It's about themselves. It's about improvement and how much they could get themselves to optimal shape entering into the playoffs. He's been tremendous since he's gotten back. But can he improve? Because he's missed a few games. They need to be in the best place possible when they get into the playoffs, Lapo.
I'm thinking about Tyrese Beverett, one of the best linebackers in the Canadian Football League. 23 defensive tackles in the last 3 games, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. This guy is so fun to watch. And what I love about him, Enoch, started out as a special teams player in one organization, get opportunities, gets an opportunity to become a starter, and he has flourished since he's been in Montreal. One of the best players that I enjoy watching on a week-to-week basis, almost as much when I was watching draft film years ago of this little guy from St. X, this big linebacker named Mwamba. They said, we got to draft this guy. Couchy, wasn't Couchy? Yeah, you're right, it was Couchy.
No, I was going to say, was it Couchy or was it Enoch? We'll find out. Any concern very quickly of a trap game today? We mentioned this between the Argos and the Rough Riders because that one ended up being a little bit closer than expected.
Big time trap game, Kate. This is the epitome of a trap game. And you look at the opportunity that the Montreal Alouettes have. You would have thought that after this week with the Hamilton Tiger Cats win, they would have had no more chances of ended up in the first. But they have an opportunity, and this is the game that they got to take seriously, and they have a chance. They do have a chance.
And Montreal must have been watching that game saying, hey, look, we got to make sure we make our plays.
Yeah. You're done now.
Right.
Enoch, you got to start eating here. I heard that Rod and Glenn are halfway done the bird.
We're going to win.
Get up off of that thing and dance to you better. Get up off of that thing and dance to you. Sing it now. Get up off of that thing and dance to you better. Get up off of that thing. Try to release that pressure. Get up off of that thing and shake to you better. Get up off of that thing and shake to you. Say it now. Get up off of that thing.
Thank you, Kate. Happy Thanksgiving, Canada, from Percival Molson Stadium on the campus of McGill University. We can't wait to dig into a football. The Ottawa RedBlacks with Glenn Suter here, and a winning streak for Ottawa. Not yet. I know Kate was talking about it, but we're going to wait. We're going to wait until quarter time, okay? Just put the knife down. We got to talk football first. 9-game winning streak for the Owls over the RedBlacks, and speaking of the number 9, a 9-0 start, a CFL record for a quarterback for Davis Alexander.
Yeah, Davis Alexander not only made it, come back from injury, a big one was over 350 yards passing in that game against Calgary, but has set a CFL record with that 9-0 start to his career. He gets to start again tonight. The Ottawa RedBlacks have basically shelved Drew Brown for the rest of the season, and Dustin Crum will start tonight. He's come off the bench 4 times and is 2-3 as a starter in Ottawa this year.
A difficult season for Bob Dice after making the playoffs a year ago. His first game as head coach of the RedBlacks was 3 years ago in this Thanksgiving Day game, and Ottawa won that one. For Jason Moss, streaky season after the 5-game losing streak in August and early September. They have won 3 in a row, and he thinks this team is similar to the one that ran the table at the end and went all the way and won the Grey Cup in 2023. Montreal won the toss. Montreal watched the ball, and they get it started too after a shorter kickoff, and that return up across the Alouette 51. For Davis Alexander coming on 4-0 as a starter last year, filling in for Cody Fajardo. He's been hurt for part of this season, but 5-0 as his streak has been continuing.
Yeah, when you look at the season, first 2 games wins. He was the starter, got injured in the Edmonton game, missed a couple there, soft tissue injury in his hamstring, came back for the Argo game, led the team to a win there, and on late in that game in the 4th quarter, injured that hamstring again, missed a ton of games through that 5-game losing skid.
Has a first down here, and a good place to start close to midfield, faking the handoff to Stevie Scott, and then he throws it, completes it to Tyson Philpott. And the Great Canadian receiver there, has it across midfield into the Ottawa zone.
Good offensive line led by Justin Lawrence up front. At center, making the calls, picking up the blitzes. It's a good, solid group in front of Davis Alexander. And Tyler Sneed, the panel talked about it in the pregame show. He's on the verge of a first, for him, 1,000-yard season. Canadian football.
Yeah, keep an eye on Tyler Sneed. 20 yards shy of 1,000 for the first time in his career. His third year out of East Carolina. Well, second down and short. It is Stevie Scott with his first carry. Scott had a breakout game a few weeks ago against Saskatchewan, ran for 125, and getting the load a lot more with the injury to Travis Tice and Sean Thomas Erlington.
Gonna have to go here on 3rd and short. A short yardage group. Didn't quite get to the first down marker, just over the 50.
And so Alexander goes out, and in comes Shea Patterson, who started his career here in Montreal and, of course, had some time with the Saskatchewan Roughriders in 23 and 24. He'll handle the short yardage duties, has for the last several weeks. All the injuries they had at quarterback. Just lunges ahead, and then second effort. Flag does come out. Right along the line of scrimmage, several flags all over the field now.
Saying it's against Montreal. I think that initial call from the official was procedure.
Montreal, number 66. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Yeah.
So instead, the punting unit will come on.
Pierre-Olivier Lestage was the guilty party on the procedure call and force Montreal to punt.
Back for that punt, Darius Pickett and Khalil Pimpleton. Devontae Dedmon was supposed to return after several weeks away, but was a late scratch. Pimpleton has carried most of the load. It will be Pickett, though, who watches it hop, head into the end zone, and then makes a move for it and just takes a knee. A 58-yard punt from Joseph Zima, and we do have a point on the board in the form of a Rouge Thanksgiving Monday in Montreal. Beautiful autumn day, isn't it? McGill University and Percival Molson Stadium. Dustin Crum making his 6th start of the season for Blue Brown has been shut down the rest of the way. And a quick toss inside, and on that sweep, Khalil Pimpleton. And picks up a few yards. Jeffrey Cantar-Coo, second-year linebacker, in on the tackle.
Well, he's 2-3 this year, but hasn't been able to beat Montreal, though no Ottawa quarterback since back in 22 has been able to do that. And 5-14 as a starter in his career in Ottawa. Know what he can do with his legs and running the ball. Can he become a real proficient passer? That's the question. That's one of the reasons he's starting here tonight. Bit of an audition continues for Dustin Crum.
Came off the bench against Saskatchewan after Brown had thrown 3 picks and threw for nearly 100 yards and a touchdown.
Ottawa, number 61. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Drew Desjardins, the veteran offensive lineman, been making the move outside to right tackle. Normally a guard is flagged for the procedure call.
Well, this is a sellout crowd, and the sellout crowd's making an impact in drive 1 for the opposition.
Even without those air horns anymore.
Absolutely.
You still hear something like that. They can get so loud here at McGill. So a 2nd and 12 now. After the 5-yard penalty. Throwing now. Dustin Crum. Short one underneath to ex-Alouette William Stanback, who had some terrific years here before going to BC last year. This his first year with Ottawa, but not enough for a first down.
Well, let's just get out of the way the motivation for Ottawa. Ottawa is out of the playoffs, but their motivation, and I'll put it to you this way: if you've ever played in a rec hockey league or whatever it is with your buddies, you do not want to let them down. I don't care what level it's at. You're out there playing your best because your buddies, your teammates are watching you. You're going to see that out of Ottawa.
It is blocked. Richie Leone's punt is blocked. Marc-Antoine Dequoy has it. 10-5. What a start for the Alouettes. Touchdown Montreal. listen to 23. Number 24 was such a big part of their run to the Grey Cup and that victory, and a big play for him on teams. For their safety, Marc-Antoine Dequoy, the point after by Jose Matos Diaz. Dequoy, the block, and as you say, scooped it up himself, took it in, and it's an 8-0 Alouette lead right out of the gate. Leone back to punt for the first time of the day. Dequoy gets to it and finishes it off for the Alouette touchdown and a 20-yard return.
Marc-Antoine Dequoy, there is a real technique to blocking a punt. It's to the block point. The block point is where the kicker's going to end up, not where the ball is when you first see it. If Dequoy goes too high and right to the ball, he extends into the kicker. He goes right to the block point, gets his hands over top of the ball, blocks it cleanly, scoop and score, and the Owls out in front early at home.
Just like that, 8-0. It's Daniel Adebaboye on this kickoff return now. And he gets hit hard. Quite a greeting. Might leave a mark up at the 30 coming in. David Dallaire on special teams. This is a fired-up Alouette team.
That's what the special teams play by Dequoy will do. He gets that entire bench riled up. You get them all excited. Come out here, big return by Adebaboye, and wow, what a hit.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, there you go. Right here. That's a good football play by both teams.
It is, and Adebaboye is no shrinking violet. Pretty tough kid as well. Quite a collision. And on that short pass, and nowhere to go. Najee Murray, the first of many, in on Pimpleton there to limit them and set about second and long.
Two guys looking at 1,000-yard receivers. We'll get to them in a second. Drew Desolarte at right tackle. He moves over from the guard. And the two guys I was talking about at receiver, Gino Lewis, Justin Hardy, closing in on 1,000 yards.
You see Luther Akunavanu in there in the starting lineup as well. There's only 5 targets all season, just 1 catch. Eugene Lewis, another ex-Alouette, now with the RedBlacks, closing in on 1,000 yards receiving. Oh, snap! Crum gets it, and thankfully for him has some time. A flag comes out as he throws it away, but this is an Ottawa team trying to stay in it and play hard against these Alouettes, but it's been a disastrous start so far.
Holding Ottawa number 51. Penalties declined. It's 3rd down.
Late holding call. That was on Peter Godber, but 3-man pressure, bad snap. Just a little bit outside. It was a little heat on it. I thought there was a chance for Crum to make something happen and get out there by Isaac Adiemi Berglund. Tracked him down.
With James Letcher injured, we've seen more of Tyson Philpott on the punt returns. Him and Sneed. It's Philpott back for it, but a shorter punt Leone. Philpott finally does get it, but it'll be another good place to start after a 38-yard punt for Davis Alexander. Coming on now and starting near midfield, thanks to special teams. They already lead by a touchdown. It's an 8-0 score on this holiday Monday in Montreal. Weeks ago, Davis Alexander made his return to the Alouettes lineup and improved to 5-0 as a start of this season, 9-0 overall with a great game against the Stampeders.
Yeah, came back in a big way, didn't he? At 350 yards passing. And just a different team when he's at the helm.
Really has been. And working quickly, completes that one too, close to first down yardage. And the first catch of the afternoon for Austin Mack. Looks like enough to move the sticks.
I mean, he's an outstanding athlete. We've seen him move around and buy time in the pocket. He can also take off and run. Although probably a little more guarded in that with his injury situation this season. But great accuracy, timing on the delivery. Process speed is there, but I think it's the intangible that is the biggest difference for Davis Alexander.
That it factor that he's shown when he came off the bench against Saskatchewan a year ago. Deep look right, way downfield near the end zone for Philpott, and the coverage is there by Lockridge on the corner. Cameron Cameron Lockbridge defending that well.
Good play there by Philpott just to avoid the interception. Take a look at that defense for Ottawa up front. Lorenzo Malton, of course, traded to Calgary, so Mike Wakefield will play that defensive end spot. Down the stretch here, another great season for Darius Pickett, even though this team will not make the playoffs. And then in the secondary, C.J. Colton leads their team in interceptions with 3.
So after taking that deep shot, it's a 2nd down and 10 now for Alexander. The Alouettes, pressure coming. Tries to avoid it. Gets away from Apoko. Throws on the move. End zone look again. And the coverage is there. Intended for Mack. And it's C.J. Colton coming in. As back-to-back deep passes by Alexander both end up falling incomplete. 3rd down.
Yeah, C.J. Colton, first couple of games was tested. Came up with an interception early in his journey and has been one of the consistent performers in that secondary. There's been a lot of change back there for Ottawa this year. Colton has been the consistent corner back there making plays.
Right on that boundary corner. So it's a 3rd and 10. Jose Maltos Dios will try one now from the 54-yard line. And it is perfect. 3 more on the board for the Alouettes. Follow up the special teams touchdown. Had a great place to start. And didn't need much to get close enough for a field goal by Maltos Dios to increase the lead to 11. Great follow-up season in Montreal for Isaac Adeyemi-Berglund, who's tied for 2nd in the CFL with 11 sacks. He has been a force on and off the field as we say hello to Kenzie Lalonde.
Adeyemi-Berglund has always been giving back. In this past year, he started his own foundation called the Berglund Bridge to spark meaningful connections and interactions in the communities he's part of. Motivated by seeing very few pro football players in his home province of Nova Scotia, and inspired by Corey Mace's work that he has done over the years in Calgary. And for years now, Adeyemi-Berglund has given back to his community. And just a few weeks ago, he was grocery shopping and he met the Louis-Philippe Perret Grenadiers, who were at the grocery store packing groceries for their local community in Chateauguay. And so Adeyemi-Berglund sparked up a conversation with them, wound up joining them the following week to be part of a food drive, and then of course gave one of his very passionate pregame speeches to the Grenadiers before one of the regular season games.
A great Thanksgiving story, Kenzie. Thank you. And yeah, the pride of Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, Isaac Adeyemi-Berglund, and really finding a home after starting in Calgary here in Montreal.
Making sure every one of those kids that he met got to the game here this afternoon, and is just 3 behind Matthew Betts. Yep. And Betts and the BC Lions on a bye week, so chance to maybe close the gap.
They've had a good race going on. At one point, he moved into the lead before Betts moved past him again. It's now a 2nd and 5 with Dustin Crum and the Ottawa RedBlacks, trailing 11-0 in this Thanksgiving Day game. The handoff to Stanback, and he finds a hole. Bursts through for a 1st down into the Alouette zone for number 31, Stanback.
Yeah, William Stanback with great patience on this run, and they finally sort of get those, I don't know if it was jitters or nerves or just try to get that alarm clock to go off for the Ottawa RedBlacks, because you know they're going to compete this afternoon. They just got off to a bumpy start with execution, but that's a well-executed play off the left side.
A gain of 17 yards and a 1st down in the Alouette zone for the RedBlacks. Down to the 48 of Montreal. Handing off again. Keeping it there. Dustin Crum. We take a look at the Alouettes defense he's up against.
So Adeyemi-Berglund at 11 sacks up front. Chance to close the gap on Matthew Betts. 2 Canadians atop the sack chart. Back in the linebacking core, Tyrese Beverett. Another, you know, as the games become more important, we get closer to the playoffs. Sankey and Beverett are going to play even better. And then should have maybe highlighted Marc-Antoine Dequoy. But Ento leads the team in interceptions.
You can't highlight them all.
Can't highlight them all. It's a good secondary, though.
Has been gain of 3. Crum, 2nd and 7 coming up here for the RedBlacks. Kind of settle down now with time. Short pass coming across. Hits Stanback. Another 1st down. First one running. 2nd one receiving. It's Sankey that gives him a little escort into the advertising billboards there. But
good decision by Dustin Crum. And I think Coach Lapo in the pregame show talked about Crum still auditioning. He's got a bunch of starts under his belt. 19 as a matter of fact. So we know a lot about what he can do and where he's limited. But is he going to be one of the guys for the future for this Ottawa football team? That's a good decision.
And it's down to the Montreal 31 now. Stand back again. Not much doing that time. And ultimately gets maybe a yard. Dylan Wynn in the inside. And Jeffrey Cantaracu as well involved in that tackle.
But I'm guessing we will see Tyree Adams a little bit for Ottawa, probably in this game, and as they finish.
Bob Dice did say that expect to see him in the remaining games for sure.
Yeah, and you know, I think it's a good idea. I mean, you're out of the playoffs. You still want your team to compete. There are some personal milestones you want to hit, but start evaluating for next year. Got a 3-game lead on that.
No gain. Stand back. 2nd and 10 now. Crum. The heat coming in. He completes that one too. Coming back is Khalil Pimpleton, who turns it up, gets to the 20, and gets another Ottawa first down.
Pimpleton's going to come back to the ball. Those extra couple of steps make such a difference because it also separates him. Lorenzo Burns out there on the corner has had a real good year. A couple of interceptions, leads the team in knockdowns. But that extra step or two back towards the line of scrimmage got him the space he needed to turn and get the first down.
Significant part of the RedBlacks on offense is certainly special teams with the injury to Devontae Dedmon, the combined yardage leader. Pimpleton taking the stand back and throwing it off to Marco Dubois. The big tight end, fullback, gets it inside the 5. We got a 1st and goal coming up here for the RedBlacks.
Well, to say Dubois has been used sparingly is an understatement because he's going to shoot out that left side of the formation, standing right in there beside Dustin Crum, and Crum sees him push to the flat, gives him the ball early enough that he can turn, get his shoulders square, and head for that end zone. It's been a struggle scoring early for Ottawa this year.
They got a chance now. 1st and goal at the Alouette 3. Trying to turn the tide. It's been all Montreal up until this drive. Crum. The fake, the pressure, and the sack. And it's Dubois coming in again to finish the job. He had the block earlier in the punt and scored the touchdown, and he gets the sack there to force a 2nd and much longer, still 2nd and goal.
Well, defense like this down in this area of the field does 2 things. One, if there's any type of play action fake and the quarterback decides to keep it, Najee Murray also right there to flush Crum up into the hands of Dubois, but it also takes away all the run gaps if you blitz like that.
So they mark the ball at the 9. It's a 2nd and goal just inside the 10 for the RedBlacks. Empty backfield, off to the right, and right there is Murray. There's strong side linebacker on Braylon Addison, timing it up perfectly, right at the catch, took him down. 3rd and goal coming up.
Nothing to lose. 3rd and goal. This early in the game, looks like the offense is staying out.
See Dustin Crum still in there, and some substitutions, but yeah, it certainly does look like they are going to go for it. And as you say, what is there to lose right now?
Boy, scoring in the first quarter in the first half has been a struggle for Ottawa all year.
Bob Dice told us this a couple of days ago, tired of settling for field goals. They need more touchdowns. Even in this situation now with them out of it, wants to see them get into the end zone more. Can they hear the toss? But no, it's knocked away by you-know-who. Marc-Antoine Dubois so far having himself a day. In great coverage there on Braylon Addison to deny the touchdown, and it's a turnover on down.
Well, you mentioned it, partner. It feels like 23 with Marc-Antoine Dubois making the plays he's making. He's right in the middle of your screen tracking this, and then he's going to just open up and fly to this football and cut underneath it with confidence. Braylon Addison was the intended target. Pressure coming, forces an early throw from Crum, but look at this play. Great confidence and uses the left hand to not grab Addison, possibly draw a flag.
So he's got a knockdown, he's got a sack, he's got a block punt, he's got a touchdown as well on that block. Marc-Antoine Dequoy. Owls offense taking over. Alexander, and going head over heels there is David Dallaire. Knocked down there by C.J. Coleman.
Well, I mentioned that struggle scoring in the first half and the first quarter of games for Bob Dice's crew has been one of the reasons that they've only managed 4 wins this season. And they're up against a team that's pretty good, not allowing points early in games in Montreal.
So it's a 5-yard pickup, a 2nd and 5. Alexander looking to quickly get rid of it, and finally does find Stevie Scott. Gets him underneath, and Scott is still not enough for a first down. Still shy by a couple of yards, and they are deep in their zone.
And this is what I mean about Ottawa competing in this game this afternoon. I mean, defensively, they're giving Davis Alexander all he can handle right now. Got the block punt for a touchdown.
And no consolation, of course. Even last week, defense made some big plays, and it was a 1-score loss. They've had several of those this season. No consolation for a team that has struggled in the last few years. But one thing Bob Dice had said, this isn't about playing for pride. He likes to think his players have been playing for pride all season long. Even though they're mathematically out of it, wants them to keep going, keep working, keep making plays, and
yeah, and don't lay down your teammates. I mean, and the other thing about it that
time count violation, Montreal number 36. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
I think Enoch mentioned in the pregame show was that what you do on video, and every game is videoed, and what you do on it is your resume. And that doesn't change because you're out of the playoffs. The teams are going to still, scouts and coaches and players are still going to look at what you do when you're across that stripe.
Last play of the quarter, and after the time count penalty, Zima gets it away from his end zone. Backs up for the old Pimpleton. Midfield. Oh, he finds some room. Dangerous returner, and finally is chased out of bounds in the Alouette zone. So Ottawa starts from a good place, got down to the 5, but just couldn't get it into the end zone. It's the block punt. It's special teams making the biggest difference now. Alouettes lead for the first 15, 11-0 over Ottawa. Get your carving knife ready. We once again hope you've enjoyed your holiday weekend. Happy Thanksgiving. Here from Montreal through a quarter, the Alouettes leading the RedBlacks. And for us, I mean, we thought we'd give Kate and Enoch and Lapo a little bit of a head start cutting into their turkey. Now it's okay to go. By the way, this is what they gave me to carve the turkey here in Montreal a year ago.
That's not a knife. This is a knife. Here, let me get this thing started. We'll get a little white meat right off the side here. Okay. Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah. All right.
You get that started.
Thank you very much.
Nice. Look at that. This is outstanding. Happy Thanksgiving across the country. I'll just get this cut up. Oh, and by the way, I know he's not on the panel right now, but we'll save that for milk. We're going to give that milk, and you know, he can have one of these too. I don't know what that is.
So he can enjoy his Thanksgiving as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what Enoch and Lapo. It might be. No. Yeah. Game is on again. Duck in my mouth fault. That one high. And a flag comes out. The intended target is Eugene Lewis with Lorenzo Burns right there on him.
I think some interference here. Not sure if it was offensive or defensive. Mentioned Gino Lewis looking at another 1,000-yard season.
They're picking that up, but that's great.
You know, which for most guys in the league is an excellent season when you get 2,000 yards. I think for Gino, though, it's an off season.
Yeah, well, he had over 1,300 his best season with Montreal, with the Alouettes, still waiting on confirmation against.
Pass interference. Montreal number 20. It's an automatic first down.
The PI against the Alouettes as announced by the referee, Tim Croker.
Yeah, I mean, that's out on the outside, and you know, they moved him around a ton, played him in different spots. He runs the curl, deep curl there, and you see there was sort of a half tackle well before the ball arrived.
So once again, this by penalty. The RedBlacks venturing down near the score zone. They got down goal to go. Another flag out. Noel Thorpe, defensive coordinator for the Alouettes, pointing back Ottawa's way.
I think you got a guy like Gino Lewis, and you know, I mentioned sometimes and try to in some ways simplify that, you know, when you have a matchup that you like, that a quarterback might just go to it and just stare down one receiver. That's not normally the way it happens, and Lapo will tell you that.
Ottawa number 51, 5-yard penalty. Made first down.
You know, quarterbacks have a play and a progression they go through, and they look at the defensive picture. They go through that progression, and then they get to the place they want to throw. It might be 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 if you're a veteran quarterback. But for Gino, the offensive coordinator and Tommy Condell can make him the #1 priority.
Well, it has been a different kind of season for Lewis, and you saw how explosive he could play with the Alouettes and also with the Edmonton Elks, over thousands of those teams as well. And Crum decides to take off. We don't see this as much from Dustin Crum. Of course, in 2023, a raw quarterback who stepped in with all the injuries they had. He made 13 starts and he ran an awful lot, but that is good enough to get a lot of that penalty yardage back.
Yeah, got him right down into the red zone again, too. And they've got about 3 to go, so a real manageable situation on second down where you're looking at the entire playbook open. But there, you know, when you write up the play and the schemes, you can make one receiver your primary target. And if he is double covered, then you move on to the next option.
2nd and 3 after that running play for Crum and giving it to Stanback, trying to pull his way through to get those yards. Doesn't look like he did. Looks like another 3rd and short coming up here for the RedBlacks.
Yeah, close enough that they'll leave. I mean, they were 3rd and 5 or 6 and went for it the other end.
Well, I sense regardless it could be a quieter day for Lewis Ward unless he's kicking the point after. We saw it the last time they got close. They're going for it on 3rd down. They don't want to be settling for field goals.
Well, this is quarterback sneak time at 3rd and 1. Crum occasionally will try and take a peek, and if he thinks he can get the edge, he'll pull it and go along the line of scrimmage on these short yardage plays and get around. That's where Adiemi Berglund wants to cut that off.
So Crum stays in the short yardage play at the Montreal 16. 2nd trip to the red zone. Crum keeps left side, first down easily. He got it across the 15, which is where he had to get, but certainly looks from this vantage point like it'll be another first down for Ottawa. A chance for a little Thanksgiving Day conversation there with Crum as he slowly gets up.
Didn't quite have the edge there, so saw just off tackle enough space to go get the first and a new set of downs.
Last week, 12 of 16 for 99 yards and a touchdown pass, coming off the bench for Drew Brown against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He's also rushed for over 400 yards this season. Stanback breaks loose, left side, gets the edge, to the pylon, and they say no touchdown, but close. Down for a 1st and goal again coming up. Stanback, it's like he was saying, I thought I got that to the pylon in time for a touchdown.
Well, the replay center will automatically look at it. Potential scores or scores are automatically reviewed, so they're looking at it in real time. We'll see if the ball
Previous
does.
play is under review by replay center.
There you go. They'll see if the ball does cross the plane.
That looks like a touchdown.
I'm not sure. I don't think his knee touched. He was in the air. The ball crosses the plane or touches that corner cone. It's ruled a touchdown. Here's a better angle at it.
Well, unless with the hand going down before the ball at the pylon, I don't know if that's what they're looking at, but it sure looked like he got in.
15 games, they've scored 3 points or less in the first quarter. Ottawa. I think that ball crossed the plane just before
the right hand goes down.
The hand was down when it hit the cone, though. We'll see what this call is.
William Stanback, 3 touchdowns on the year. Could this be number 4?
After automatic review by the replay center, prior to the ball carrier's right hand touching the sideline, the ball hit the pylon. We have a touchdown.
As explained from Tim Croker on the decision by the replay center, it is indeed 6 points for William Stanback back in his old stomping ground here at Molson Stadium after several great years with the Alouettes. 6 plays, 70 yards. Stanback with the touchdown, and now mentioning Lewis Ward. Do not see him for many field goal tries. They continue to go for it on 3rd down in these situations, but see him on for the point after. Or no, they are going for 2. We really aren't going to see much of Lewis Ward, are we? If they are going for 2 here, of course, down 11-6.
And that punt single for Montreal was another reason to try to get it to 8. But yeah, I mean, nothing to lose. I see probably a few 3rd down gambles, especially in plus territory from Ottawa.
Going for 2 here, of course, to make it a 3-point game. Taking a step back, the toss to the right, too far. And that was intended for Braylon Addison, so the 2-point conversion fails, but Ottawa does get on the board. William Stanback against his old team just hits the pylon in time. 6 points.
Good drive by Ottawa.
Just 40 yards, 6 plays, and that man, William Stanback, taking it in. And a highlight he'll never forget coming with the Alouettes in the Grey Cup in 23 against Winnipeg when he had a long run for a touchdown to help Montreal's upset victory. Charleston Rambo on the return for the Alouettes, and a good one it is. Good field position for Montreal to start up near midfield on a good return for Charleston Rambo.
Yeah, these special teams are so important in our league, and Pimpleton gets this drive started in real good field position with a return of his own when Montreal had to kick from deep in their own end, and then 40 yards later, a run from Crum. Little short yardage play off the left side, and then giving it to William Stanback, who showed great speed getting outside to the wide side of the field and cross the plane.
39-yard return, 2 for Charleston Rambo. Sets him up near midfield. Davis Alexander on that hit screen to Tyson Philpott. And he breaks loose a bit, but then is ultimately taken down there by Mark Milton in the secondary for the RedBlacks.
That is the intangible, though, to me, with Davis Alexander, is just the enthusiasm he brings, the passion he brings to the game. I mean, and there's lots of guys who are excited about playing and being the starting quarterback, and they know that everyone's watching them. Whether you play on offense or the special teams, you're watching your leader, your quarterback, and how but that enthusiasm is infectious.
From the Ottawa 48, Stevie Scott is the running back. And not much doing there for Stevie Scott. It'll be a 2nd and long. Or excuse me, that was on a 2nd and short play. Didn't need much. Gets it to the 45, so he only needed to get a couple of yards and barely didn't make it for the first down.
And that first game for Stevie Scott was a big one. No one knew much about him against Saskatchewan. He had over 100 yards rushing that game. Kind of surprised everybody, but we've got the scouting report on him now.
Perseverance on the practice roster last year, failing to make the Alouette squad. That toss underneath and hit right away. There's Dallaire with another catch for the fullbacks, getting it down to around the 40. This is part 1 of a home-and-home series between these two. Their first game in 4 months, by the way. They met back in June 13th in Ottawa. The Alouettes won that game by 21. Alexander starting in that game. It's a 2nd and 5. Just a 3-man rush with time. Takes a shot. End zone low. Nearly a beautiful catch for Tyler Sneed. Adrian Fry was right there with him. Sneed, well, he got his hands on it. Would have been an amazing catch. Just a little bit too far for him. Incomplete.
Davis Alexander goes with the spread offense. No backs in the backfield. 3 receivers out each side. Little shake move there to get to the corner from Sneed, and it's over his shoulder right where it had to be. Or else Adrian Fry has a crack at it, because that's pretty good coverage. Davis Alexander gives his receiver a chance. Just can't reel it in.
Just that close for Tyler Sneed, their leading receiver coming in, needing 20 yards heading into this game to reach 1,000 on the year. Jose Maltos has already hit one from 54. This is a 48-yard try. See if he can add 3 more on the board for the Alouettes. And Maltos does. Alouettes settle for 3 that time. They were so close. Sneed to another touchdown. Disappointment for Bob Dice. His team won't be in the playoffs, but he feels they still have something to play for. Let's go back to Kenzie.
Yeah, still goals for each one of the units here for the RedBlacks. Bob Dice saying this week when it comes to the offense, he just wants to see them finish. So I'm not surprised that they went for the 3rd down earlier on in this game. He wants...
Whoop, little mic difficulty there for Kenzie.
We have the offensive goal. We'll get the defensive and special teams goal in a second. Just need some batteries.
Back on offense, William Stanback had the touchdown for Ottawa. Last possession, gets it up across the 45. It's a gain of 5 for Stanback.
Yeah, and this is what I'm talking about for audition time for, you know, we know William Stanback, we know Dustin Crum, and, you know, limited, the rosters are limited in Canadian football, so it's difficult to, you know, get a look at a whole bunch of young guys. Plus, there's personal milestones that you got to consider as well. I think that's important. A couple guys close to 1,000 yards.
An injured RedBlack down on the field. Ottawa football halfway through the 2nd quarter. 14-6 Alouettes. We'll be back. Back in Montreal and back to Kenzie and Bob Dice. Kenzie, we lost you for a moment. We got the point about offense, but complete your thought now.
Yeah, so we talked a little about the goals Bob Dice wants to see on offense. Defensively speaking, he feels this is where he sees the most growth, so he wants to keep this group moving forward in this game. Now, when it comes to special teams, this is where he wants to see the most physical of all 3 units. Bob Dice all about the big 4. They'll have to shake off that block punt from earlier on in this game. Really thinks this can be a clear objective for this group today, being key on special teams.
Well, the offense back in the field now in a 2nd and 5, and Crum taking the handoff, takes off. Dustin Crum running. Josh Archibald in there to finish things off across midfield. We do have a flag coming out as well. Would be enough for a 1st down pending the flag, though. Going against the RedBlacks by the looks of things.
Ottawa is sort of middle of the pack
After
this
yards
season.
are gained, holding. Ottawa number 2. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
That's down the field. They're wondering if it's after, 1st down, so it's after 1st down gained.
After the yards were gained. 1st down RedBlacks. Down 8 points again after the Maltos Diaz field goal. But their offense has shown an ability to move the football in a couple of big drives. Longer one before their touchdown drive that ultimately ended with a 3rd and goal at the 5, and just couldn't find the end zone. Play broken up by Marc-Antoine Dequoy. And the Ottawa 45 now, heading down to the 7 minutes to go until halftime. On the 1st down play, and it's the toss sweep for Pimpleton. Breaks 1 tackle and gets pushed back. He's still going. Backtracks. Braylon Addison runs interference as he cuts it up, and he gets it back to midfield. So he gets something out of that. A 10-yard pickup for Khalil Pimpleton, and he certainly had to improvise. First going right, then going left.
Yeah, and I loved how when he reverses his field and goes the opposite direction, there's the little forward pitch, and now he's reversing his field, and big block by Harding to take Sankey out of it, and then everybody trying to get in the way, not blocking, but just trying to get in the way of the pursuit angles from Montreal's defense.
Khalil Pimpleton, not the first time we've seen him make something out of nothing. Gets a first down right at midfield for the RedBlacks. Still plenty of time to go until halftime. Settles, throws it, completes it to Stanback, who's had a good first half. William Stanback down to the Montreal 40. A good check down there for Crum and a first down for Ottawa.
Well, it's a good decision because of a couple things he sees. There's the safety in Dequoy. He's dropping deep. He knows his back is coming out of the backfield in William Stanback. He's just going to check for the blitz on the outside. Little chip block there, and now he's got some space. So a real good decision by Crum to hit that back out of the backfield.
William Stanback has 44 yards rushing, and he also has 21 yards receiving so far in this game. The touchdown, of course, as well. So rolling out to the right, Mustafa Johnson in pursuit, gets rid of it. It is low for Keelan White for the rookie. Kavion Ento is there with him as it falls incomplete. Rod Smith, Glenn Suter, Kenzie Lalonde here on a holiday Monday in Montreal. Thanksgiving game between the RedBlacks and the Alouettes. Montreal, well, they could still dream of finishing first. It's possible with Hamilton losing to Calgary in the weekend, but a lot has to happen. The magic number is 1. The Alouettes have to win today. If they don't, they'll be locked into second place and host the East semifinals. That's Keelan White. So Crum goes right back to him on that second down play. Shy of a first, they had to get down to the 29.
Been watching that Ottawa offensive line. They've had to make some changes up front. Move Sam Carson over to guard and Drew Desjardins to tackle. And I promise not to say his name with turkey in my mouth anymore, but he's working on Eddie Berglund off the edge. And it's been a quiet first half for Eddie Berglund. 11 sacks on the season, and they've been keeping him away from Dustin Crum so far.
Well, we are seeing Lewis Ward coming up now, Suits, for a field goal try on this 3rd and 3. 32, a 41. He puts it down just inside the 40. Lewis Ward, and 3 more on the board. Good job. Well, recently, the CFL released the names of the nominees for the Jake Goddard Veterans Award, recognizing a Canadian CFL player who best demonstrates the attributes of Canada's veterans: strength, perseverance, courage, comradeship, and contribution to Canadian communities.
Yeah, and I'm a little biased in this one because I've been involved with it for a lot of years, but I really believe one of the most prestigious, if not the most prestigious award to win on awards night is the Jack Goddard Award, because our veterans so important, especially now, today's climate in the world. And thank you very much for your service to all our men and women in the armed forces.
And that's caught by Philpott. Named, of course, after Jake Goddard, the former commissioner of the CFL.
Yeah.
And, of course, remembered, too, for his service in the military for Canada.
And how about some of the names on that list this year? Just outstanding nominees. Jeffrey Narku here, I think, is a starter in the league. He's a rotation player in Montreal because of their personnel, but he's a starter. 1,000-yard receiver in Keandre Smith. You've got that's Grady Oliveira, who is still saving puppies.
Yeah. And as mentioned, I mean, we talk about their on-field accomplishments, and rightfully so, but this one is about so much more, which makes it special. Everything they do off the field as well, and the kind of attitude that they have when they do play the game.
Yeah, and all the work they do in the community, and we probably don't talk about it enough, about how much CFL football players are in the communities and helping youth. And well, we saw Kenzie talked about it with Eddie Berglund, and just spontaneously bringing an entire football team to the game.
On that 2nd and 2.
You see what I see, what Davis Alexander saw, a little play action fake. He's got no safety in the middle, and that's where he's going to Austin Mack. No touchdown by contact, and stretches across.
Heads up play while he's down, Austin Mack, and that is for his first touchdown of the season. And what a time to get it to late in the first half, under 3 minutes to go. Maltos Diaz with the point after. And the Alouettes open up a 21-9 lead. Davis Alexander. Downfield, finds his receiver, Mack open, who lunges across for the touchdown.
Coming up at halftime, Enoch will give love to the Montreal defense. Lapo will give love to William Stanback. But most importantly, we are absolutely destroying Rod and Glenn in the turkey eating contest. Down to the bones, gentlemen.
Good
the
job,
bones.
Rennie. Gotta catch up. It's all you, Rennie.
Can't talk with your mouth full, Kate. You guys are busy at halftime. I certainly have tried, but we're going to have some time at the half to catch up with you. We shall see. Still plenty of time. I'm still carving over here. You still are. We're getting ready for halftime in a different sort of way, Kate Burnett.
It's a difficult job to do when you're eating turkey at the same time. So try to pace ourselves here.
You'll be carving it up at halftime. Here's Khalil Templeton. And up across the 36 now after that touchdown pass from Davis Alexander to Austin Mack. 47 yards as he lunged across. And yeah, Mack, remember him in his first year out of Ohio State with the Alouettes in 2023 and a big part of their run to a Grey Cup title.
Yeah, and it's been an up and down season for Austin Mack, on and off the injured list. And that's probably one of the reasons he secured that catch the way he did on the deep ball. I mean, that wasn't a nonchalant grab it and walk in. That was, I'm going to make sure I hang on to this thing, goes down and then stretches across the goal line.
I remember a certain one-handed catch in the Grey Cup a couple of years ago from Cody Fajardo. Ottawa football again. The fake and then off to Keelan White. Nice catch and a turnaround to pick up a few more yards to set up a 2nd and short. Still 2.5 minutes to go till halftime. See if the RedBlacks can work it closer again.
This is a really good catch, and Keelan White has had an excellent season. Rookie year for Keelan White. You know, and the first thing for him is to prove that he can be reliable. He can be trusted by the coaching staff. He can be trusted by his starting quarterback. He has done that this season.
Good energy from the sellout crowd. Pressure coming, knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Darnell Sankey coming in, getting his hands up and knocking that one away from Dustin Crum, and a 3rd and 3 coming up.
I think about that 23 season for Montreal. I think about Sankey too. And, you know, just a guy who is going to be the guy who gives that pregame speech in a key time. Now he's not blocked there, and a little bit of a delayed blitz. Offensive line not quite picking up that blitz, but they've got some jump in their step on defense for sure.
They never lost a game in 23 after they added Sankey to the lineup. They're on a run of 8 straight wins. So they punt. Eno Benjamin started the Calgary Stampeders and then went over to Montreal with the injuries they've had, and he's on the return after a 56-yard punt by Richie Leone.
2 minutes to go in the half. You know, and better not go to sleep on Davis Alexander. I don't think he's going to be getting conservative all of a sudden with this lead going in at halftime.
See his numbers so far, and impressive numbers against Calgary 2 weeks ago.
Big time. Career high.
Yeah. So, I mean, going 14-56 going in and 7 touchdowns, 3 picks. But, of course, this is only his 6th start of the season because of injuries. Throwing there, completing again, Tyson Philpott. And it is Lockridge, Cameron Lockridge on him right after the catch. 1:54 till halftime.
Yeah, not handing the ball off on first down. We're gonna throw the wide side out. Step into this throw, tight spiral, on time to Philpott. Almost impossible to cover for Lockridge.
He went over 700 yards receiving earlier in this game on his first reception. 2nd and 4. 139 and counting. Alexander. He finds a spot. And that's Austin Mack again. Last catch he had was for a touchdown, and he gets that one outside the 40 and a first down, Montreal.
Yeah, for Austin Mack now, this is a more confident catch. You know, and again, even if you're a star football player, and that's what Mack is for sure, if you've had one of those seasons where it's been up and down, on and off the injured list, confidence is a factor.
From the Alouette 41 now. Under 1.5 to go. Alexander to Cole Speaker. Here's a name we haven't said in the afternoon with his first catch. Speaker, another one of the veteran receivers, who's a big part of their championship run a couple of years ago.
Hey, his first game back was that Calgary game as well. Had 81 yards in that one and caught all his targets.
Just needing a yard and getting more than that, and a big hit coming in. DeAndre Lamont, and a flag comes out too, and a late pop.
We'll see what the flag is, but I didn't hear a whistle when Lamont came down. Wasn't Davis Alexander still trying to gain yards?
Well, he's still up.
He's still up, trying to gain yards, and then pow.
And his shoulder coming in the helmet, and the helmet comes off, and that's when the flag came out, and DeAndre Lamont.
Well, I also wonder about
There's no infraction on the play. First down.
Yeah, so Alexander was trying to get, he doesn't have the same protection that he would have in the pocket for those kind of hits. He's now a running back and was still trying to gain yards.
Well, it was a 2nd and 1, and all that fighting for more yardage came after he'd already had the first down. So he takes that hit, stays in, across midfield, the 54, 21-9 lead. We're under a minute to go till halftime. Throwing quickly to the right, complete to Stevie Scott, and he turns it upfield and gets a couple more yards. Darius Pickett in on the tackle. Devon Santos knocks 2.
I'm a little surprised just by his demeanor right now that he's in the game.
It was a hard hit he took to the head with his shoulder.
I'm a little surprised that he's still in the game, that the spotters haven't taken him out to take a look.
2nd and 3, and no first down rush there as the RedBlacks are on it. Pushing Scott back. Let's take another look at that hit.
Well,
DeAndre Lamont coming in on Alexander.
Yeah, with Lamont in this hit. Here he continues to get yards, and then right there. And just in between plays, he's still trying to gather himself and
timeout.
I think they're going to take him out now.
Well, and they were bringing Shea Patterson on as well, with this being a 3rd and a yard. But
this was after the hit, and of course he wants to play. He's just trying to gather himself, but this is the new protocol.
And you expect that kind of attitude from a competitive player that never wants to come out of the game, and it's up to the Alouettes to get him out for a while and make sure he's okay. So Shea Patterson is in. It's a 3rd and 2. Patterson has been handling the short yardage situations anyway. Trying to draw them off.
Needed to snap it.
Okay, sir, that's 10 yards.
Time count violation. Montreal number 7. It's a 10-yard penalty. Remains third down.
So Justin Lawrence just didn't, in his peripheral vision, see that the edge player for Ottawa jumped and was in the neutral zone because he needed to snap it right then. He would have got the deliberate draw offside.
They'd have been in the range of a long field goal try by Maltos Diaz, who's 7 for 8 from 50 plus. I mean, distance not really a problem for him. Instead, though, the penalty pushes him back. Joseph Zima to punt it away, standing at his 40. Just a half a minute to go until halftime now. And Ottawa to get the ball back. Although Pendleton settles just inside the 15 and works it up just shy of the 20 after a 42-yard punt by Zima. 27 seconds to go until halftime. The Alouettes leading it by 12 points, 21-9.
Alouettes, if they sweep this game, beat Winnipeg, chance for first in the division. I mean, that's what's on the stake for what's on the play for the Montreal Alouettes. The Ottawa RedBlacks, I say you take a shot down the field right here.
Yeah. Nothing to lose, right?
Why not?
Yeah.
You know, down by a couple scores and take a shot. Maybe you get a PI. You said get one more, 2 more plays.
Not much on that one. Meanwhile, wondering if the tryptophan's kicking in for our 3 friends back in the studio, Kate, Enoch, and Lapo. Yeah, if they've been as active devouring turkey as they claim they have been, well, we shall see.
I've been looking at that big slab of white meat that you've left over on your counter right here beside me.
Yeah, I'm saving it. I am saving it.
If you don't claim that pretty soon, I'm going to reach over and grab it.
As soon as we go to halftime, we're on different schedules from that. Down to halftime, final play, stand back. Who's had a very good, solid first half for the Ottawa RedBlacks, scoring their touchdown, but they are down against a team they have not beaten since Thanksgiving back 3 years ago in 2022, and they are trailing at halftime.
Well, Ottawa played pretty well in that first half defensively until the Mack touchdown throw from Davis Alexander to Austin Mack. Little play action fake, and then he hits him on the post.
And Austin Mack is standing by with Kenzie.
Well, Austin, a highlight reel catch for your first one of the season. How did that feel?
To God all the glory. Davis made a great play for me. Just thankful to be here, man, and just to make it an opportunity, honestly.
Challenging sight to see Davis go down the tunnel. We'll see what happens here. How do you keep this pace going for the rest of this game?
10 will be good. At the end of the day, we got to make sure we keep doing what we do. Energy, toughness, come out here, finish this game.
All right, have fun.
All right, thank you.
Kate and the panel, over to you.
Kenzie, there it is from Austin Mack. 10 will be good, so we don't even need to worry about an update after halftime. Back alongside Enoch Mwamba, Paul Lapolice, and barely any remnants left of this turkey that we have clearly demolished at this point. Speaking of demolishing, that is exactly what this Montreal Alouettes defense has done. Look, we've seen so many tremendous performances from this unit. Having Davis Alexander certainly helps, but overall, you have to be impressed, even at this point where they're playing a team that's out of the postseason, that they still have this level of intensity, Enoch.
Absolutely. And one of the things that you're not going to be worried about is that 10 is going to be good. So you know that. My thing when I'm looking at the Montreal Alouettes, I'm glad to see at the beginning of the game, Davis wasn't playing his best necessarily. It wasn't explosive offensively, but you had some plays being made in different sides. Special teams, Marc-Antoine Duquois came, made a huge play. Defensively speaking as well, they stood up. The Ottawa RedBlacks were running down, they were marching down the field, got into the red zone, but the defense stood up. Marc-Antoine Duquois once again, came in, made a huge play in the end zone, but Najee Murray, you talk about Darnell Sankey, obviously Beverett. This defense is stepping up. I love the fact that, yes, we know about 10. We know he's going to be good. But every other player on this team also needs to raise their level of competence so that when they get to the playoffs, they can also have different plays.
And one of the guys that they need to slow down in the second half is going to be William Stanback. We talked about Stanback before in the pre-game show, and we thought, you know what, he hasn't had the best regular season. We've seen him have humongous seasons. He's playing his former team. He's trying to prove that he's still, someone who can make a difference in the CFL. He's got 83 all-purpose yards, and that was a really nice half of football.
Yeah, I like what he's done. One other point before we start talk about William Stanback. This run defense of the RedBlacks doing a really good job. Second and short, a couple of those opportunities, they knocked Montreal back. Montreal's got basically 11 yards rushing on 7 carries. They're not doing anything in the run game. But William Stanback, 3 receptions for 36 yards. They're using him in a number of different ways, and he's getting his shoulders square, getting north-south, making people miss. 8 carries, 47 yards. There's one of those catches. 1 touchdown. That was a beautiful touchdown, reaching the ball forward, 6 yards per carry. Like you said, Kate, a lot of these veteran guys on these teams out of the playoffs are trying to figure out, hey, listen, I can still play at a high level. I can still be somebody who can be in your organization, and I can carry the rock. And William Stanback's showing up, doing a really good job of that.
Let's get back to Davis Alexander. And look, you can argue all day whether he should have been pulled. The concussion spotter should have pulled him on that play. He obviously had a bloody nose, though, after it. And Enoch, we've seen this so many times from 10 that he is just fired up on all levels, on all cylinders. He did not want to be pulled out, but they were like, no, you have a bleeding nose. Like they were trying to get through to him a little bit here.
It's just blood. That's probably what he's saying. Coach, it's just blood. Put me back in there. But his ability to be physical, he almost has a linebacker mentality as a quarterback, but he's extremely accurate, and he's just able to impact the team on so many levels. I mean, you're his teammate. You're watching this. You're watching him wanting to go back, getting mad at the medical staff for holding him on the sideline. You can't stand there and say, man, you can't have a soft approach to the game. You want to go out there. You want to make plays for a guy like this.
Yeah, and hats off to the medical staff and recognizing, and the coaches getting them off the field so they can evaluate and go. And everyone talks about how everybody loves Davis Alexander in that building and want to play for him, and that's why they moved on from other people. It's because of plays like that.
Agreed.
When other players see you laying it on the line for your teammates every single play, that energizes everybody and say, I want to follow that individual. That's my alpha male leader. And that's what he does a great job.
I give kudos to the medical staff, too. They're like, we're totally great with your energy, but just let us take care of the blood, and then you can get back out there. 21-9, much more coming up right after this. Well, just in case you missed it, but I'm sure you haven't because we've played it 600 times on TSN and it's been all over the internet. Ontario Wilson, that is the play of the year. The way he kept that ball in play and then had the awareness to grab it and get underneath it. I mean, I don't see how that doesn't win play of the year. I personally don't. I know we've had some great stuff, and you're going to argue it right now, but for me, that is number 1.
That was an amazing play. Is that the play of the year?
Yes.
What do you think?
The answer's yes.
All right, I'll go with a different one. I got a different one. All right, we ready?
Ready.
Kenny Lawler. Of course, it's Kenny Lawler. Week 6, totally perpendicular to the ground, kind of backwards to the football, goes up and makes this 44-yard touchdown in Ottawa. Week 6, 23-20 win. Look at this play. Over C.J. Colton, finds it, carries it, brings it to the ground, while somebody all over him. That's my play of the year so far.
You probably had some options, too, with Kenny Lawler, but I'm going to go with a defensive player. Let's go to week 8.
Of course you are.
BC Lions versus Ticats. Bo Levi Mitchell launches it up to Larry Orange. And guess who shows up? Robert Carter Jr. I mean, have you ever seen anything better than this? Oh, well, he has done something similar in the past, and he does it again this year. I don't know if you could ever top this. Ontario Wilson, that was a great catch. It was great focus, but he didn't have to tip it at all. One time, one hand, and he was good. I think he's the best.
I don't know now.
I'm changing.
No, you can't. You can't do that.
I'm going Carter,
Come
too.
on,
Come on.
No one's taking Pokey. No one's taking Pokey Wilson. No one.
Sorry,
No,
Kenny.
I'm sticking with my choice.
One-hander.
It's an amazing play.
No juggling.
I think I win. You know what? Let's take a vote. Let's take a vote at home. Write us in. You let us know. We're going to do a fun straight fire. We should at the end of the year and make sure we know who's number one. It's Pokey Wilson. I think I get the final vote anyways. Meanwhile, in Ottawa.
Jr.
Ottawa taking on Montreal. We'll get you back to Montreal. We got a 21-9 football game. Back to Glenn Suter and Rod after this.
Halftime Thanksgiving Monday in Montreal. The Alouettes leading 21-9. A look at your WestJet halftime stats. And for Ottawa, some encouragement on offense, the ability to move the football, and they ultimately got a touchdown as well from William Stanback with a productive first half. And standing by now with Kenzie.
Will, and speaking with head coach Bob Dice this week, he said he wanted to see this offense finish, score some points in the red zone. How does your touchdown help to fuel this offense moving forward?
Just trying to bring a spark to the guys up front, and, building that confidence, in each one of us. Just trying to get it going so we can punch it in the end zone and come away with a win.
Next time you're in the red zone, any adjustments you want to see as a group?
Just keep sticking to our game plan, punch them in the mouth as much as we can, just wear them down as a defense and execute at a high level. That's all we got to do to come away with the win.
Best of luck.
Yes, thank you so much.
Well, it wasn't a punch to the mouth of Davis Alexander, but he was hit pretty hard.
Oh, yeah.
And had to leave the game.
I thought you were going to go down the road with William Stanback. Not surprising at all that a tailback uses two things he says there. Punch him in the mouth and keep grinding, keep pushing,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what tailbacks think. Just keep wearing them down.
I was going to say, and that certainly defined the career of William Stanback. So you saw Davis Alexander there, the kickoff. A live ball. It is recovered by the Alouettes. Just drilled by Maltos to hit a member of the Ottawa RedBlacks and bounced right back the Alouettes' way. Just like they scripted it, right? Nate Boschman, the rookie, back in the lineup for Montreal.
Well, this could be scripted. This is oftentimes the coaching staff looking at enough video and seeing a tell from the Ottawa front line on the kick return team that maybe they're turning and bailing too quickly. Like, are they turning too quickly? If they turn just before the ball is kicked, and they do, that's why. That's something that the coaches spot early. They game plan for it, and they try to drill one of those front guys in the kick return team.
That was Zachary Filion, who was inserted back in the Ottawa lineup, and it was hit there, and it came back to the Alouettes get the football. And it's Stevie Scott. But again, Zach Filion, whose dad, by the way, Ed Filion, had a great CFL career with the Montreal Alouettes.
If that line of guys right there, if they are turning before the ball is kicked, you got to wait until the ball is kicked and then turn and go and find your block angle. If you turn early, special team coaches will notice that, and they'll try that. Now, you have to be accurate on the kick to make it happen, but Maltos Diaz was.
He certainly was, and Boschman recovers. Alouette football on the second down. Breaking through is Stevie Scott. This is an Alouette team that has not run the football well lately, or this season for that matter. Second lowest total in the CFL, but a big first down for Scott there.
Yeah, he's at 220, but he makes himself skinny at the line of scrimmage. I know there's a whole bunch of people at this time of year saying, how do I make myself skinny? But he does there to jump through that line of scrimmage and then get into the secondary.
Gain of 17 yards for Stevie Scott. 3 carries for 5 yards in the first half across midfield. Faking the hit, throwing quickly, and it is caught, and it's inside the 45. It's Austin Mack who had a touchdown in the first half and a 47-yarder.
So Davis Alexander is back in the starting lineup for the second half. Wondered if the spotters, I'm sure they looked at him and assessed him at halftime after taking that big hit in short yardage.
From DeAndre Lamont, his helmet came off and he had a bloody nose or mouth. Wasn't happy at all about being removed. 2nd and 2 and throwing here. It is caught, another first down. And it was back to Mack again. Let's have another look at what happened late in the first half on that running play by Davis Alexander.
Yeah, DeAndre Lamont's coming down to help out because Alexander keeps fighting for extra yards. He had the first down already before before he took the hit. But because he kept fighting, he was being pushed by Scott, the tailback from behind, and then there was blood coming out, and he was unhappy about having to leave the game, of course.
But back in now for Montreal on a first down. Play action pass. Buys himself some time. Pressure coming and just has to throw it away. Which he does towards the RedBlacks bench on that first down play. Flag coming out. Had to get the ball back to the line of scrimmage for it to not be grounding.
Yeah, across the line of scrimmage to not be grounding. You don't need a receiver near it if it does cross the line of scrimmage. If it doesn't, there has to be a receiver close.
So wait word from the referee Tim Croker here. What looks like grounding.
Intentional grounding. Montreal number 10. It's a loss of down. Second down.
Yeah, so basically the rule is you can throw it away without a receiver. There's the line of scrimmage right there, right at the 35. And as Alexander retreats here, there's got to be a receiver in the area if it's not going to cross the line of scrimmage. It clearly doesn't. Goes out of bounds around 40-ish. And no receiver close enough.
So keeping it underneath in a 2nd and 29. They lost 19 and the down and the grounding. Getting in some of it back. That's Tyler Sneed. Mentioned coming in 20 shy of reaching 1,000 on the season, but not nearly enough. Third down coming up, but they do get it close enough to get it into the range of Jose Maltos Diaz.
Just watching Davis Alexander very closely. Looks like he'll be okay.
So it does look like they're punting. It would take about in the low 50s, about a 51-yard try, but instead they got Joseph Zima out to punt the football.
Bit of a wind in their face too right now.
Looking for field position here on that punt by Zima. And Pimpleton takes it as he's going out of bounds, so job well done by Zima. 35-yard punt. RedBlacks have the ball, down 12, third quarter. At the half, the Alouettes honor two of their greats of the past in Brian Chew and Jermaine Copeland, who are both recently honored with induction in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, and they're both standing by now with Kenzie.
Yeah, I got them back in the thick of it, guys. We're right here on the sidelines. Brian Chew to my left, Jermaine Copeland to my right. Guys, honored here at halftime. Brian, I'll start with you. Just to be back here in Montreal, where you spent your entire CFL career, and to celebrate it with your family. What does this mean to you?
It means everything. That's the biggest reason. My kids were so young at the time, they never really got to experience it. So seeing this moment meant everything to have my mom and my kids here.
Well, you got this sellout crowd to life. Jermaine, I'll turn it over to you. I think when fans see you, they're taken right back to the 2002 Grey Cup game and your onside touchdown play that you had. And I know you guys spoke to the Alouettes yesterday before the game. So for yourself, what was your message to the recent team?
Well, for me, it was more of staying on the grind. You know, I told the guys, there's a lot of guys that come up here from down south that are shaken and bruised. You know, you're not really sure what's going to happen, but to always continue to fight. You may get cut, but where's your momentum at? Where are you going? Where's your next step? I always say stay on the grind, keep fighting, keep fighting. Eventually, you'll make yourself where you need to be.
Well, gentlemen, congratulations, and I thank you for the time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kenzie. Much deserved honor for both of them. There's Darnell Sankey and Tyrese Beverett, and on Dustin Crum running that play after a 19-yard pickup by Standback, but a tough ending there for Crum.
Yeah, congratulations to both those guys going into the Hall of Fame. Well deserved. And boy, did the crowd sell out here in Montreal this afternoon. Standing ovation for both. And you know, I think maybe their presence and their pregame speeches is helping, but they got to kind of contain. They've got to start containing Standback.
Second down after the 6-yard pickup. Throwing and caught two. Flags coming out. That'd be enough at midfield for a first down by Ottawa. We'll wait and see the result of the flag, though. Is this against the RedBlacks in their backfield?
Late flag. Ball was already thrown. But Kent Narku
holding. Ottawa number 51. 10-yard penalty. Remains second down.
Peter Godber, the center, gets called on. Levy was holding Tyrese Beverette. Ken Narku was beside him. Beverette ends up It's not immediately. It's right there. Beverette comes on a stunt. You can see him grab his shoulder pads and turn him around.
So it takes him back to a second and long for Crum. Trying to find a receiver. Still can't. He's running around. Being chased down by Sankey, who gets it. Good play in the open field by the veteran middle linebacker of the Alouettes, Darnell Sankey, who's forced Ottawa to punt.
These guys, when they get closer to playoffs, your best players start stepping up. We've seen Dequoy make some plays. Watch, just follow Sankey. Drop into his responsibility, staying disciplined in his pass drops, and then when he knows and is sure that Crum is going to tuck it and take off, he tracks him down and catches him from behind. And that's saying something with Dustin Crum.
Sure is. Crum's running ability, so Leone stands back just outside his 10. Eno Benjamin is the lone returner for the Alouettes. Tracking this down at his 31. A 53-yard punt by Leone, and that return up to the 47 of the Alouettes. Gorgeous autumn day in the campus of McGill. At our Thanksgiving weekend game, the RedBlacks trail. Monday Night Football tonight on TSN. Great day for football. Always the Thanksgiving Day game with the RedBlacks and the Montreal Alouettes here. The tradition on the Thanksgiving Monday. Stevie Scott with the ball. A penalty on the return, pushing the Alouettes much further back to start this drive.
Well, you mentioned in the first half, the Montreal Alouettes, if they want to shore something up going into the playoff run, it's probably their run game on offense. And just get a little more consistency out of that. You know, averaging just shy of 90 yards a game. That's 8th in the league running the football. I'm sure Jason Moss would like to see a little more production out of that run game, more consistent basis.
2nd and 9. Over the middle, deeper shot to Cole Speaker. His biggest catch of the afternoon. Takes the hit from Lamont. But as a first down to get the Alouettes all the way up closer to midfield around their 50 and 28 yards.
Lamont's playing down the hash mark, and Speaker's coming from the backside. And as Davis Alexander watches Lamont's drop and sees that he's on a half-field type of drop, then the middle's got to be open. Very similar to the Austin Mack touchdown throw.
Just the second catch of the afternoon for Cole Speaker up at the 50 now. 12-point lead, Alouettes. Play action fake to Scott. And with time and throwing it over to Tyson Philpott. A nice move to get around a tackle and get it up. Only picks up about 4 or 5 yards, but Philpott certainly worked for him.
5 yards, but it was a fun 5.
It was.
That was a fun 5 to watch. Well, Philpott puts that right foot in the ground, and then that's a tough one. Just oh, Colton's just like hanging on.
Yeah, gets 4, 2nd and 6 for Tyson Philpott in his 4th year at the University of Calgary. Grey Cup champion in 23. That winning catch. Here's Alexander. Backpedals. Still being chased. Gets rid of it. And it is caught too by Tyler Snead. And that is enough for a first down to the 45. Gain of 11 for Snead.
This is one of the measurables for Davis Alexander, is his ability to negotiate the pocket, buy himself some time. He pushes off with his left hand, but he's constantly got his eyes down the field. And all he needs is that one little flash of his white jersey, of his teammate in one of those zones, buys himself some time, hops back and forth, and finds Snead. 1,000-yard season.
Yep, that one put him just over 1,001 now. 21 of the day. Tyler Snead, 1,000-yard receiving season. Leading the way with the Alouettes, that's Charleston Rambo. And Alexander knew how close Snead was to that milestone.
Yeah, and these things matter. So he wants to get the ball back, and this is what a good teammate does. Little things. Keep the ball, man. It's a 1,000-yard season. It's your first. It's
Get
awesome.
that one marked. Davis Alexander for his teammate, his top receiver, Tyler Snead, making sure he takes care of him.
I love it, man. That's being a great teammate. I know that doesn't seem like a big thing, but that's cool.
That's one for his trophy case.
Cool, yeah.
Tyler Snead. Here we go on a 2nd and 4 underneath. And trying to one-hand it is Snead in behind. He was coming across a bit behind him, so couldn't add on to his yardage total there.
Yeah, got a little casual on it, that's all. Just a little crossing route. Could have reached back with both hands, probably secured the catch. Likely would have been tackled right there. Just a quick crossing route from the inside on a little bit of a delay, and he thought he'd just kind of tuck it under his arm.
And so Jose Maltos Diaz comes on 2 for 2, and he's made from 53 and 48, and this one upwards of 48 again, put down by Zima, and it is good. It was drifting left, but inside still that left upright from Maltos Diaz.
Another ticket to the gun show.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. He's got a flex after that one again. And 3 more for the Alouettes, 24-9.
Big year coming up.
It certainly is.
In our country.
World Cup coming to Canada. Exciting time in that sport in this country. Now to a 40 now. Flag out for Crum. Couldn't find a receiver. He takes off again and just barely gets rid of it. With Cantar-Coup coming in and Beverett as well. It just rolls out of bounds. But coverage pressure really on Crum, who had some time and just couldn't find anybody.
Yeah, that's a coverage sack, or coverage was the main reason for the play being made by the defense. I'm a little surprised we haven't seen Tyree Adams at this point in the game. I mean, a team that's out of the playoffs, yeah, you still want to win, but you want to see if you can win with number 7. See if you can win with Adams.
So a penalty, they're sorting that out. But Crum, by the way, hurried twice, hit 5 times, sacked once.
Well, offside, Ottawa. Penalties declined, 2nd down.
And as Coach mentioned in the pregame show, you know, it is still an audition for Crum. They still want to see, you know, Crum's continuing to evolve. However, this is real tryout time. I mean, you have a chance now out of the playoffs to get ahead of next year. Evaluate Tyree Adams.
He's one of those players that he's been with the RedBlacks a while, and yet we've always said that we wanted to see more of what he could do. It's a small sample size, partially because of injury and also because of opportunity. From intercepted, deflected into the hands of Lorenzo Burns, intended for Eugene Lewis, and instead we got a turnover. Montreal taking over at the Ottawa 47. Lorenzo Burns with his 3rd pick of the season. And a flag is out. Alertly coming in on the deflection.
Well, upon further review, it looks like this ball may have touched the turf. You see down at the bottom of your screen that front tip of the football touching the turf. So won't be an interception from Lorenzo Burns. But another big play by Antoine Dequoy, who jumps it and gets the tip. Gino Lewis trying to come back on that curl. Dequoy beats him to the football, tips it up to his teammate.
Still waiting word from the replay center and an announcement from the referee, Tim Croker.
After automatic read by the replay center, it's an incomplete pass. After the play, 10-yard misconduct foul against Montreal number 9. The It'll be third down.
So no, not a pick, and Jeffrey Cantaracou is penalized, the Alouettes. So the bottom line, it is a third down still for the RedBlacks, but they'll have the chance to punt it away. Richie Leone. Benjamin standing back there, waiting for it. Taken down after a 44-yard punt. Let's go back to Kenzie.
What did you guys want to debate about Benjamin?
A theme today is we've been talking a lot about community involvement, and when you bring in a guy like Gino Lewis, you're getting a leader both on and off the field. Right now, he is one credit away from earning his master's at Oklahoma in human relations. His goal is to work in family services after working with families that struggle with drug abuse and homelessness. And so here's a guy that always puts it all out on the field and off the field as well.
Thank you, Kenzie. And yeah, but remarkable career starting in Montreal, and still feels indebted to his time with the Alouettes for giving him that shot. But it's been more of a frustrating season, really, since leaving with Edmonton and certainly with Ottawa. He gets close to 1,000 yards. He still doesn't have a catch tonight.
Well, and that's how good he is, though. 1,000-yard receiving season is not great for Gino Lewis. It's great for any other player, but for him, you know, to me, he is a 8 to 12 targets a game player. So, however you're going to do that, you got to get the ball to Gino Lewis. He was the intended target when Dequoy beat him and tipped it. But, you know, he's one of those guys, as Bo Levi Mitchell said to us a couple nights ago, he's one of those guys that doesn't matter if he's covered. Throw it to him anyway.
Yeah. We've seen that so many times. He's made spectacular catches. Certainly did in his days here with the Alouettes. Highlight machine. 2nd and 11 now for Alexander. Loading it up. Down the rail to the right and knocked away. Coming back to get it is Mark Milton. Started his season with the Argos and was traded last month to the RedBlacks, and a good defensive play there to force a 3rd and long for the Alouettes.
Yeah, Davis Alexander's a little upset with himself that he didn't just let go of this a little earlier, because he has that deep ball on the sideline and a little bit of a fake to the outside. Philpott had it, just because it was a little bit late on the throw. Milton had a chance to close and catch up.
Mark Milton has a Grey Cup ring with the Argos last year. As said, traded away. Joseph Zima to punt it. The Alouettes still in charge, leading by 15, 24-9. Ottawa's offense trying to get something going. Hello, Templeton is a part of that, and also on special teams after a 40-yard punt. Gets it across the RedBlacks 50. So Khalil
During the return, holding Ottawa number 48. It's 10-yard penalty, first down, Ottawa.
And a chance to climb back in this game. Can't get those holding calls. That was real good field position right around midfield. Disappears because of a bad decision.
And it was last week against Saskatchewan. Templeton had a punt return for a touchdown called back because of a penalty. What kind of season for the RedBlacks? Late 3rd quarter, under 1.5 minutes to go. Ottawa just 9 points on the board. Little reverse. It's Justin Hardy trying to get him involved. He's still without a catch, but has that handoff and that pickup on 1st down for the RedBlacks.
We'll say this too about this game, especially on the teams. It's been a physical game, like playoff level physical. On the playoffs and first place still possible for Montreal, so not surprised there. This is a big hit too.
Some physical football. It's Ento that's putting Hardy out, as mentioned, though. Ottawa's offense, we talked to receivers. Lewis and Hardy still do not have a catch in this game from the quarterback. 2nd and 5, swinging it out. And it's William Stanback, who's been their most productive offensive player in this game, right near the 1st down marker for Ottawa.
Yeah, and if you're in the East or a Western possible crossover team and you're thinking about playing the Alouettes in the playoffs, they are susceptible to the run at times. At times this year, they have given up big chunks of yards along the ground.
That movement, Lawal Uguak Gets back and set. No flag. Stand back. Sweeping around the right. He gets it up to midfield on another carry for him.
Played against, they're ranked 5th against the run in the league coming into this week. But against Hamilton, gave up 234 yards and lost.
Against Winnipeg, Brady Oliveira had a great day in their game here.
176 that game and lost. Played against Saskatchewan, gave up 137 and lost that one. But having said that, it's getting closer to the playoffs. Guys like Darnell Sankey turn it up a notch. And they gave up a bunch of yards against Calgary, but with Davis Alexander back, they still won that game.
Dan Adebaboye, the running back, in on a second, and Bray, he has the ball. First carry of the afternoon, Adebaboye, and has a first down for Ottawa across midfield. And that is quarter time. So the game settles down, but Ottawa trying to spoil things for the Alouettes. Still in a hole now, heading to the fourth quarter. Montreal needs to win to keep any hopes of finishing first in the East Division. With 1 quarter to play, the Alouettes with a 15-point lead. But as you look at those stats, I think the most important one now is how much turkey is left compared to just carcass. For us, compared to Kate and the panel, this little running competition, partner, I think we did a pretty good job here.
I mean, come on, we destroyed this thing. I mean,
there's still an apple left, if you like.
I love that the carcass is left, and the only thing that's green in there is still untouched.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think we did a pretty good job here. Now, in fairness, it's a bit bigger crew.
It is.
Than is sharing, but we'll get to that in a second.
We weren't going to admit that yet, were we? They said they had the bigger bird, but there were 3 of them, just 2 of us. That's all that matters right now.
That's really all that matters. And Milt, we still have your...
all kidding aside, we hope you've had, all of you, have had a great Thanksgiving and enjoyed the holiday weekend as we have. Watching a football game, our favorite thing to do. And with 1 quarter still to play on this Thanksgiving Monday.
Now, I don't know about you, but leftover turkey for me is almost my favorite of the turkey dinner.
Absolutely. And better the next day.
And then the soup.
Yes. Hey, take the bones, make the soup.
I'm taking the bones. Can I take the bones?
Sure you can. Hop on a plane. I'll be curious when you go through airport security what they say to you.
I'll be checking my turkey carcass.
Anything to declare, nothing but bones. Strange smell coming out of your soup plate. Here we go. RedBlacks, fourth quarter. On a 1st and 10. Faking to stand back. Throwing to Marco Dubois. Got a couple of catches in this game, and he puts his head down on Najee Murray. And he gets it down, a first down to the Montreal 30, a pickup of 21 yards.
Yeah, that's what I mean about the physicality in this game. I mean, Dubois going to end up in the flat out here, and it's a little fake to stand back going one way and then out to the flat. No one picks him up, but watch the contact at the end. Like Sankey flying around, taking out blockers.
Ottawa again. Back to stand back, not much there. It's Lawal Uguak on the tackle of his old teammate William Stanback, limiting him to about a yard.
It's like they're not tackling, they're hitting. The difference. And they got to play each other again.
They do. I was going to say.
Maybe setting the tone.
Yeah. First of a home and home. If Montreal wins this game, then they're still mathematically alive to catch Hamilton for first in the East. They would still need to beat Ottawa again next week, and then hope Ottawa beats Hamilton in the Ticats last game, and then they'd have to beat Winnipeg in the final week. So a lot.
Ticats number is 1. 1 win or 1 Montreal loss, and they take the division.
Pressure coming on. On the blitz. Strong side linebacker Najee Murray coming in and picks up the sack of Dustin Crum.
Najee Murray is not even going to be in your picture, and that's probably doesn't see him. He's outside wide and then loops all the way around and gets home. Right down Main Street. Darnell Sankey eats up the block. Najee Murray on the wraparound blitz comes right through the A-gap between the center and the guard.
Third sack of the afternoon for the Alouettes on Dustin Crum. So Lewis Ward is out. This will be a 47-yard field goal try for the veteran Ottawa kicker, with Leone putting it down, but it rips off to the left. And Eno Benjamin takes it and is going to take a knee. But despite some momentum for Ottawa's offense, not much to show for it. Kind of a microcosm of the season on the missed field goal. A 10th point on the board. RedBlacks still trail on Montreal by 2 touchdowns. Getting late in this Thanksgiving Monday in Montreal, the RedBlacks just picked up a point on a missed field goal, but they're still down 14. 11.5 minutes to go. Montreal football, Davis Alexander. Left side, Stevie Scott turns it back up and trying to add to those rushing totals. We talked about the Alouettes, the one ingredient of their offensive attack that could use more work. Second down coming up.
Well, you know, and I get if the former quarterback in Jason Moss thinking that, you know, his best player is Davis Alexander, so I want him to have the ball and be in control of the game. And, you know, I think for Moss, those little swing passes where he gets it back out, or even a speaker out in the flat, to them, it is a running play.
So, call it 7 picked up. Chance to pick up those other 3 and get a first down, but he is shy. Stevie caught again.
And that's why Jason Moss is reluctant at times. You know, like it's not consistent enough at this moment that he can go on a 2nd and 4 or 5 and pick up the first down on a run play.
I talked to Jason Moss a couple of days ago just about the momentum the Alouettes are back on now. Now, he did say the attitude didn't change when they lost 5 in a row, but they've been streaky. And when I asked for a comparison to 23, he immediately got animated about that. He said it is eerily similar to the way this team is feeling right now, which would be a good sign, of course. They won their last 5 of the regular season, and then in the playoffs beat Hamilton, upset Toronto, and then Winnipeg, too, in the Grey Cup. Hoping for a repeat in 2025. For the Montreal Alouettes, and that punt chasing Will Pimpleton on a 53-yarder back inside the 10 as he gets it out to about this 17-18-yard line. Ottawa football again, but with a whole lot of work to do now for the RedBlacks. Under 10 minutes to go here at Molson Stadium. Confession time to Kate. Okay, it wasn't just Suits and I devouring that turkey, but we had a lot of mouths to feed here, including a terrific crew.
Yeah, camera crew out there getting their sandwiches, their turkeys. And yeah, thanks to, I mean, I'm thankful for all of our crews across the country that do such a great job. And this is about the time when they're out there in the pouring rain or whatever it might be as it gets colder, getting these great shots of our game.
From the end zone. For a penalty push, the RedBlacks back intended for William Stanback, but not just great camera operators, but
tape
the tape department.
There's video. Davers and audio.
There you go.
He's in our ear, our production team, and TV, our director tonight. Yeah. And John Hines, who's not in the shot,
I was going to say,
but is our producer. Yeah. He's probably not in the shot because he's got a big turkey sandwich cornered somewhere.
Yeah, Hines, he doesn't want a camera on him when he's eating. I know the feeling. But yeah, we give thanks to a terrific crew right across the board here in Montreal today. Glenn and I had a bit, Kate. We had a bit. There's Crum again from the end zone. And traffic nearly intercepted. Dequoy had a chance. Lots of Alouette white jerseys around. They're outnumbering Justin Hardy, but it still falls incomplete.
You know what? I know desperate times call for desperate measures, but I'm not sure what Dustin Crum saw when he threw that one. I mean, I could see that live, and I thought, if this isn't picked off, something's wrong. Dequoy's in there as well, and he's having himself a huge game this afternoon.
Might have had another touchdown, depending on what was ahead of him there. With a little bit of daylight, Dequoy already has one. The first touchdown of the game in a block punt. And here is Richie Leone punting again out of his end zone. So Montreal's in great shape here with Benjamin. Took it at midfield. Then he lost his footing down at the Ottawa 45. And a good break for the RedBlacks there after a 52-yard punt, and flags coming out late as well. Benjamin could have had more.
How long do you keep number 10 out there with a 2-score lead?
Looked like Marco Dubois was showing Davis Alexander his Grey Cup tattoo.
Looks like it'll be another penalty against the RedBlacks. Usually when the ref's talking to the coach, it means the other team got the penalty. But I think coach
play disqualification. Ottawa number 89. 25-yard penalty. First down Montreal.
Well, that was Marco Dubois. We saw him having words with Davis Alexander walking off the field, but he's disqualified from this game.
Yeah, that's what Bob Dice was trying to ask. He was over there talking to the officials saying, who was it? I'll go get him. He's out.
So in terms of the intensity, they're certainly not playing this like a nothing game. I mean, it's been edgy right from the get-go.
Well, let's look at the top of the screen up here and see what the issue right up here. Okay, so that's normal special team stuff.
Working against Tyrell Richards. Oh,
a right hand punch to the head, which with a helmet on doesn't affect the guy getting punched. Get you thrown out, and it'll hit you in the pocketbook too.
So they move much deeper. It is Tyler Sneed, over 1,000 on the season, and picking up more yardage there. In a great place to start already in the red zone, and there'll be goal to go as well on that first down for Montreal.
And the answer to the question is, number 10 comes out, and you think right after this drive is complete, whether it's field goal or touchdown, makes it 3 possession. They still have to win. That's why Montreal.
You know what? They get another touchdown here. I'm liking their chances if they're up 3 touchdowns midway through the fourth quarter, especially given Ottawa's inability to score much. There's a 14-yard gain for Sneed. And on the fake, running to the right, looking to the end zone, nearly intercepted, but just out of bounds. Mark Milton, the closest one to that ball as it headed into the end zone. Intended for Austin Mack.
Physical, trash talking going on. I hear you.
Second and goal, Alouettes. And looking to push their record to 9-7 and keep their hopes alive of first place in the East after Hamilton lost to Calgary earlier this weekend. A look to the end zone to the left. Nearly intercepted again. No, C.J. Colden. The one right there with Mack. Closest to it, had the chance, caught it, but went out of bounds. So third down coming up. Maltos coming on. See if he can add 3 more and make it a 27-10 game.
Yeah, I think C.J. Colden was well out of bounds when he caught this. Yeah, right foot past the white stripe. Not so sure that Davis Alexander didn't just throw it that far outside that if Mack comes up with some sort of miracle, it's one thing. If not, it's out of bounds.
Maltos Diaz with 3 longer field goals, and that's just a chip shot to go 4 for 4. Put on 3 more. Montreal's in control. Late at McGill. RedBlacks football, but now down more than 2 scores after another field goal by Jose Maltos Diaz and a 17-point Montreal lead. Under 7 minutes to go now here in the fourth quarter. Dustin Crum still in at quarterback, handing off to Daniel Adeboboye, the running back now instead of William Stanback, and picks up a few yards. Second down still ahead.
No catches for Gino Lewis. And Dustin Crum still in the game. I'm really quite surprised by that.
Well, me too. Bob Dice had mentioned, before the end of the season, we are going to see, don't be surprised if we see Tyree Adams. And by the way, Justin Hardy also. No catches in this one. 3-man rush. The 2nd and 7. It is caught. And keeping his feet after being hit is Keelan White. Still shy of a first down, though. Several yards shy.
It's such a disappointing season when you don't make the playoffs. But the one upside you have is that you can evaluate young players. You have 2 or 3 games left. This is a very good Montreal defense, championship level defense. And you need to see if Tyree Adams can handle this defense.
By the replay center, we have roughing the passer against Montreal number 91. 15-yard penalty, an automatic first down.
Emmy Berglund, a little late on that hit, I guess. Getting called. Goes on an inside move, ball's out. I don't know about that one.
So it's a first down by penalty for the RedBlacks to the Alouettes 50. 5 minutes, 25 seconds left and counting. That is complete to Khalil Pimpleton. Cuts it back. Pimpleton works his way down to the 35. And a 15-yard pickup for the RedBlacks.
And one of the responses would automatically be, well, we still want to win. So if that's your response, if you're Bob Dice, about not playing Tyree Adams at this point in the game in the second half for sure, then you're saying that Tyree Adams you can't win with. So how do you know that unless he gets out there and plays?
Well, he's just a great unknown. He's played so little in the last 4 seasons. Adams had 1 start. I mean, we go back to 2023, and that's how Dustin Crum was introduced. He was the 4th quarterback in behind Jeremiah Masoli, who was hurt, Nick Arbuckle, who started the first 2 games, and then Tyree Adams came in against Edmonton and got the victory in his 1 CFL start, but he got hurt. Knee injury done for the season.
Right.
And then Masoli got a chance to come back from a long injury layoff, got hurt in the first half in Hamilton. The rest of the way in 23 was Dustin Crum, who ended up starting 13 games that year. But there wasn't a chance to see Tyree Adams build on the start that he had. Of course, we did see some stunning things from Crum in his first 2 starts. Electric with victories in his first 2 against Winnipeg and Calgary. Off to the left. And Keelan White hangs on to it. Not enough for a first down, but brings it inside the 30.
And Rod, think about it this way, too. I mean, until Davis Alexander got that opportunity, we didn't know what he was.
No.
We don't know what
he was the number 3 QB.
Yeah, we don't know what Tyree Adams is, and neither does the Ottawa organization. And you can't find that out until you put him under the spotlight. Put him under the lights of the stadium, see if he handles it.
Well, they still have 2 games after this. There's pressure on Crum. Well, he evaded Murray, but he can't evade Beverett, who takes him down for a huge loss back in midfield for Tyrese Beverett, the runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year in 2024 in the CFL.
3rd and 3 just turned into 3rd and 33. First down for Montreal. Yeah, Beverett and Darnell Sankey, they basically, these guys basically, this time of year is when we see their best football. Beverett over the last 4 or 5 games has just been piling on the stats. 23 defensive tackles, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, an interception. That's just the last 3 games. Because we're getting close to the playoffs. That's when those guys turn it up.
That was a turnover on downs, as you talked about. All the way back, they spot the ball at the 48. The offense on the field, the first down for Montreal.
And I don't mean to suggest that Sankey and Beverett are mailing it in the first half of the season. By no means are they doing that, but it's kind of like when you watch the difference between regular season play, even at the highest levels, and regular season hockey compared to playoff hockey. Night and day
Resetting the clock to 3:46.
Night and day different, right? And so it's just that time of year. It's organic, and the great players, their game starts to elevate.
And speaking of that, I was talking earlier what Jason Moss was saying, a tale of two seasons. 2023, they get hot at the right time. They keep winning. They're an underdog going into Toronto, but they had momentum. The rest is history. Great time. Last year, they clinched first by mid-September. And Moss admits that dynamic does change a little bit when you don't have to win games, and they started to slump. They ultimately lost to the Argos in the East Final, and it was Toronto to move on and get the Grey Cup win. Eno Benjamin in at running back. He has the ball. And a good pickup to get it up across midfield. So Moss has said he's learned from these experiences as to the importance of this time of year and the kind of momentum and attitude you have.
And he told you, and I understand that that's why he wants to play his guys, and you know, no matter what. But again, we're now closing in on the 3-minute warning with a 3-possession lead, and Davis Alexander's still out there. That's where I will respectfully disagree with the decision. I mean, and took a big hit in this game too. They wanted to win. They need to win. They want to keep that you know, effort for first place in the division alive. And I get all that, but Ottawa's not coming back at 3:20 down 3 possessions.
And when I talked to him, it was before Hamilton had lost, and I said, "Does the Hamilton outcome change your lineup decisions at all?" He said, "Not one bit.
No, exactly.
Our starters are playing." As Shea Patterson is in there on the short yardage play to pick up another first down for the Alouettes. And Alexander comes back on.
You know, mission accomplished here this afternoon for Montreal. They got the win. Had to do that. Keep the hope alive for first. He's thrown for 240, touchdown. Hasn't thrown an interception, which he's been excellent at, by the way. That's another measurable that puts him where he's, you know, at that unbeaten. He's looking at 10-0 as a starter to start his career.
77% of the day passing. Yeah, consider that too. That's the part of the story that we hadn't talked about. We'll get a chance to finishing up here.
Get him out.
He's going to get the win anyway. By the looks of things now, 38 of the clock and a 17-point lead. Just 2 weeks in the regular season left after today. Here's the sked for week 20, starting the Friday night with the Riders, Bombers, and the Elks and the Lions. There's still so much to be decided in the West. We do know there's going to be a crossover team. Then you got the Owls and the RedBlacks again in Ottawa, wrapping up with the Argos and the Stampeders. But all we can say in the West is Saskatchewan's clinch first place.
Number 1, yeah.
And BC has a playoff spot, but we don't know where.
All right. And the Elks are still alive.
They are, mathematically. I mean, they still need some help.
They need some help, but the Elks are still alive in the playoff hunt. So nothing determined there. We do know that the 2 teams in the East with this win from Montreal will be Hamilton and Montreal. Don't know who will finish first yet.
Right.
And won't till the end of the season. Ottawa can still play spoiler with either team. They win next week against Montreal, and it's Hamilton in first place.
Yes.
Montreal takes care of business next week, beats Ottawa. Now they've got to see they can go in and beat Hamilton and lose first place in the division.
I was going to say the RedBlacks would finish up in Hamilton the night before Montreal plays in Winnipeg, and that's when they know whether or not that game against the Bombers means anything in the standings. Chances are it's going to mean something to Winnipeg, though, regardless.
Absolutely.
Right down to the wire in the CFL regular season. Eno Benjamin getting some business now as he gets it down to the Ottawa Fort.
There is a chance that the Bombers, through all this different math, could cross over and come through the East.
Can you imagine?
And go back.
Can you imagine?
I'm just going to throw it out there.
Wow.
The Riders have home field advantage in the final. I know BC is one of the hottest teams in the West right now, and maybe in the league. But if somehow they win that final and Winnipeg goes through the East, I'm just saying.
Just trying to get my head around that. All these possibilities. It's just crazy, especially in the West, what's going on. So join us next week. 4 big games, all of them with significance in the standings as well. And
with with the Bombers being to 5 straight, by the way.
Yeah.
So this would be 6.
And hosting the Grey Cup this year.
Yeah.
And by the way, so the one definitive thing that we could say, and that was after last week, there will be a crossover. Yeah. There's a better chance than average that it's going to be here. I mean, odds still favor Hamilton, but still to be determined. The last crossover played was in 2019, 6 years ago, when Montreal lost to Edmonton. And the head coach of Edmonton that year, Jason Moss.
Yes.
That was the last crossover game played, and Edmonton went on to face the Tiger Cats, lost in the Eastern Final that year. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Benjamin picks it up, takes off, and takes a big hit too coming in. That's Lockridge. After, well, they avoided the fumble, but it's kind of a hot potato there for Davis Alexander.
You know the old technique of tackling and wrapping up and, you know, staying low, getting the pad level down, wrap your arms around. Watch the contact at the end of this. They're not tackling, they're just running into each other. Like, they're just, it's just...
Whoop.
Yeah, a little bit of a...
That turkey was right out of the oven.
Yeah. I tell you what, I'm just... I know what Jason Moss has said, and I know
you made your point.
I'm just okay.
Yeah, we had this discussion, by the way. Now, this you're talking in terms of one game, and this is not a scenario for the Alouettes this year.
Montreal,
but for teams, I remember having this discussion when Winnipeg had clinched first in the West, and we're looking at 3, 4, 5 weeks. The Argos had that. The Alouettes had it last year. Then what do you do if the games don't have any meaning in the standings? And that would have been the case had Hamilton won on the weekend.
Right.
This game wouldn't have any meaning in the standings for Montreal, and yet I still think you'd be seeing Davis Alexander.
Exactly. He said he was going to play him. He's not getting into that rest. You know, we asked Scott Milanovic a very similar question. Of course, they were focused on one game, but and no one wants to look ahead of the game in hand. But I asked him, I said, just this game aside, if you win it and you lock up first, how does that change? Now, they have a bye, so they have... could be 3 weeks that they would be sitting like a Bo Levi Mitchell. He said, no way we're doing that.
Right.
So I understand the mentality to, you know, stay in that rhythm of playing live football.
Malthus Diaz stays perfect. 5 field goals, 4 of them over 40 yards, and it's a 30-10 Alouette lead. So back just under 2 minutes to go. For the Montreal Alouettes of the regular season. Of course, they know they're going to have a home playoff day. And yes, the Thanksgiving Day games. Look at the great George Reed. These are all the names. Ronnie Stewart, old Ottawa Rough Rider. Thanksgiving feasts and the top rushing performances. How about these performances, Sid?
Yeah, well, they just chopped down on those games.
Really?
Fred Reed. Remember Fred Reed?
Yes, I do.
Bombers and great George Reed. 268. And there's your record, 287 yards in one game.
Yeah, 65 years ago, Thanksgiving, Ronnie Stewart of the Ottawa Rough Riders, they won the Grey Cup that year. Stewart would win a couple more in the late 60s as well. What a career he had. But see the legend like George Reed as well. Wow. But 287 yards rushing, that's a decent holiday performance. After the field goal. And kicking to the RedBlacks, down to the boy with the ball and up around the 30. So this is part 1, and this game, you know, not playoff significance for Ottawa, but it's had some nastiness, and they'll renew in the nation's capital next week.
Yeah, and, you know, again, they want to, as we mentioned, you're playing with your teammates watching, so you want to put on a good show and make sure you're still playing physical. You got coaches watching for next year, but you know, the one thing that Ottawa knows is that there's going to be change. When you don't make the playoffs and you've had back-to-back or a couple bad years in a row, there's going to be change. How deep that goes, we don't know. Let the organization decide on all of that.
For now, though, Ottawa is winding this one down. And it's Eugene Lewis who finally has a catch. It doesn't look like he's going to make it to 1,000 yards on this one. Still a couple of games to go, but came in 43
Major foul
shy.
off the pass for Montreal number 9. Add 15 yards to the play and automatic first down.
So Lewis at least has a catch in this day.
Well, and he thought that that penalty was going against Ottawa when he first turned around.
Because it's been that kind of day.
Yeah. Well, it's been that kind of season. Yeah. You know, and that's the problem. And that's the issue. That, you know, coaching staff, players, it's unsettling. You know, you're going into an off season saying what's going to happen, who's free agent, who's playing quarterback.
Crum all the way in this one. Will we see some Tyree Adams next week for Bob Dice to decide, or a hybrid of the two of them with 2 games to play after this?
I think you got it. I mean, you have to. You know, I mean, if you're trying to shine up make it a 5-win season instead of a 4-win season, that just doesn't make any sense. You got a chance to evaluate some players here.
Under a minute to go. Templeton will snap the first down, and that second down play tries to reach for it. Lorenzo Burns taking him down.
You know, I'm not giving up on Dustin Crum, and I'm certainly not on Drew Brown. You know, but
you just want to see what you have.
You got to see what you have, and yes, Crum his evolution has been slow but steady, and the arrow's going in the right direction. Got all that, but you know exactly what you're getting from him right now, and we got it again here this afternoon.
Again, Crum nearly intercepted. Wesley Sutton coming in to knock that one away. 34 seconds on the clock, and another turnover on downs in that third down and short. Ottawa turns it over again.
So if you're the organization, what have you learned about your team for next year watching this game this afternoon? I don't think you've really learned anything.
No.
You knew Stanback was a good player. He was again tonight, or today. You know, I'm really quite surprised.
And then there's the flip side. The Alouettes found out what they had in this guy last year, backing up Cody Fajardo.
He's going to go wire to wire, isn't he?
Yeah, they gave him the keys to the offense this year, and he's missed a lot of games with injury. Just 6 starts this year. But he was 4-0 last year, 6-0 this year. And for Davis Alexander, until this season, the greatest start by a quarterback in CFL history was 8-0 by Danny McManus.
Really incredible. And look at the names on the list. Danny McManus, 8-0. Jeff Garcia, 7-0. I mean, those guys on that list did pretty good in their careers, if I remember correctly.
Not bad at all. Hall of Famers. Marc-Antoine Ducroix. What a game for him. For the Alouettes. Final home game of the regular season. They'll be hosting a playoff game. And for number 10, a perfect 10. 10-0 to start his career as Davis Alexander, as the Montreal Alouettes, for now anyway, still have a hope of finishing first in the East Division. They face the RedBlacks again next week in Ottawa.
Another great defensive effort for Montreal. Another win for Davis Alexander. Happy Thanksgiving Day weekend. Great crowd here in Montreal. Sellout crowd for their last home game. They're headed to the playoffs. We just don't know where yet.
It's either in the semifinal in the crossover game, or if they can still manage to get first place, a bye to the Eastern final. Hamilton wants to say something about that. Early and often for the Alouettes, a richly deserving crew getting a Thanksgiving feast as well. And another big week of CFL action coming up next week in the second last week of the regular season. The Alouettes win. They improved to 9-7. Thank you for watching, and happy Thanksgiving, Canada. Have a great day. So long.